Yeah, they tell you that you should quit trying. You were too small, that you were too young. They tell you the chance is too slim, the world is too big, but you say how come? I'm ready to light a new fire, raise a new flag to cross a new sea. And if I'm ever the one in your way, then put your head down and run right through me. I keep settling for so much less. Don't take what's given, just demand what's next. We're looking for an open door, so we didn't see before. So we get out of here, plot twist so we didn't see coming. We're looking for an open door, so we didn't see before. And when we get out of here, we'll never stop running. It's something like a shadow in the valley, colossal. Open up your eyes, young one, and be watchful. Behind closed doors, try to write a new gospel. They are not God, they're not even apostles. I come with the dumb drum banging you breathless. Enemies freeze, left bent and defenseless. Straight for the chest of anybody against us. The more they resist it, the more that they tempt us. I keep settling for so much less. Don't take what's given, just demand what's next. We're looking for an open door, so we didn't see before. So we get out of here, plot twist that we didn't see coming. We're looking for.
All right. Test. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, it happened. I can't believe we just witnessed history today. Give me 1 second here. I'm trying to adjust my camera, and I'm going to turn down the music. Not that low. All right. It happened, ladies and gentlemen. The Chicago Bulls just beat Joel Embiid. It actually happened, and I'm shocked. I'm honestly shocked it did happen because I had no faith it was going to happen. And not only that, Embiid dominated this game. This was one of the toughest wins easily all season. Like, I don't know where exactly you're gonna put this one, right? I'm aware that a lot of Bulls fans are gonna say it's the best win of the year. I do always take in the fact that the Bulls did beat Giannis and the Milwaukee Bucks at Milwaukee this year. So I do look at that one as potentially the best win of the season. But this one is definitely right up there where the Bulls with the Bulls' best wins of the season. It's been one ridiculous ride this season, but we have seen this Bulls team beat some very good teams in the regular season. And I don't just think that this is something that we should just ignore. This is really, really solid to see that this Bulls team finally beat basically the Aaron Rodgers of their team. So I'm happy that this happened, and we're gonna break down this game that I have to say was one of the toughest games to watch because nobody on either team, or I should say neither team, could score the damn ball. It was a disgusting, low scoring, really slow, grinded out, just extremely nitty gritty type game, and the Bulls ended up winning this one. And I have to say that I am very impressed. This is the type of game that I think the Bulls, that we've seen them play a lot, but they never are able to close it out, right? We see this Bulls team defensively, they look so good, but then they can't figure it out offensively just enough to at least get the win. This Bulls team still sucked offensively tonight. Hell, you scored 109 points in 58 minutes. And if you look across the league right now, in regulation, the Minnesota Timberwolves and New York Knicks put up 140 and 134 in regulation, okay? These two teams just put up this amount of points in 48 minutes, and these two teams put up these amount of points in 58 minutes. So this was disgusting to watch. But talk about being nitty-gritty, being tough, being mentally tough, right? Which is something that people have said this Bulls team is not mentally tough. You won this one. You got it. And this team deserves a ton of credit all around for fighting through this one, because oh my god, I did not think that we're gonna pull this one out, especially after that first quarter where I saw where this game was going, which was gonna be a very low scoring affair. But they did it. What's going on, Noel? Good to see you. Yeah, I'm happy as well, man. And I was oh my god, I don't typically like bite my nails, but I was doing that this entire game, especially when it's coming down the stretch. And not gonna lie, man, I thought Maxey was gonna kill us at the end of regulation. I thought he was gonna drain it, and I'm like, oh my god, we're gonna lose to Joel Embiid on a Tyrese Maxey long three just because it has to be Tyrese Maxey that's gonna kill us, and they didn't. He missed it. And I'm very happy about it. And I'm shocked by the headline. Didn't think I'd ever see it. I did not think I'd ever see this either. But we got it. We finally did it. It came down to defense, and the Bulls were definitely way more smooth. Listen, I'm gonna give Billy Donovan a ton of credit in this stream. I'm also gonna criticize him, okay? But as I've been saying all season, this Bulls defense is totally fine, okay? I'm aware we have Levine, DeRozan, and Vucevic. I'm aware we have guys that are not known as defenders, okay? But this Bulls defense just held the top offensive rating team in the last 10 games to 105 points in 58 minutes, okay? We're talking about the Philadelphia 76ers that are on a 9-game winning streak, okay? This team could not lose. This team has the MVP right now for many people in Joel Embiid. And guess what? Joel Embiid had a dominant performance once again. Like, defensively, this Bulls team has been solid all season, okay? I don't know what it is about people still saying that this Bulls team is the reason why they've struggled this season is because of the lack of defense. The reason why this Bulls team has struggled is because of the lack of offense, okay? We just held the Philadelphia 76ers to 105 points in 58 minutes, and they have been on just a tear as a team, okay? We held the Philadelphia 76ers to 42% from the field, 27% from three-point range, and we somehow had more free throws than the Philadelphia 76ers, who have Joel Embiid and James Harden on their team, okay? You want to talk about an all-around defensive performance by this Bulls squad. You just held Philadelphia to under 45% shooting, under 30% from three-point range, and did not foul too many times, right? Joel Embiid had his free throws, okay? But James Harden could not get anything going tonight, right? And Tyrese Maxey, he was only there in spurts. The others for the Philadelphia 76ers couldn't get crap. They did not know what to do. We were not letting the Georges Niangs of the world destroy us like we usually see that, right? This is the defense with this Bulls team that has been very solid all season, okay? I'm aware that there are some games recently where it looks bad, but defensively, this Bulls team has looked very, very solid, right? And I'm talking like since December, this Bulls team has been solid. And coming into this game, I believe we were still fifth defensively, right? I'll double check that now. But this is the thing, man. Like, this is why I'm like, we have to just understand. Defensively, this Bulls team has been fine. Okay, we came into this game fifth defensively. All right, and now I think even after this game, we're still fifth. Okay, the defense is not the issue. It's this offense that has continued to suck all season. And the Bulls, at the very least in the end, were able to get just enough offense to win this one. And thank God Embiid fouled out, because if Embiid did not foul out, and thanks to maybe a phantom call that I'm not exactly sure what it was, maybe there was a camera angle that we weren't able to see, but Embiid fouled out and we took advantage, and that's exactly what we had to do once Embiid fouled out. So it took a lot, right? It took a terrible performance by the Philadelphia 76ers all around except for Embiid. It took a masterful defensive performance, and it took Embiid fouling out and going to double overtime. But the Bulls did it. They did it, man. They actually did this, and I can't believe it. I'm honestly shocked. Yeah. If either team was able to knock down the threes efficiently, then there would have been no OT. I mean, yeah, I agree. The Bulls, they could not hit a three for their life, and it was really hard to watch, because I thought there were some shots that the Bulls were taking from 3-point range that I'm just like, we don't need that, right? And then on the flip side, there were shots where I'm like, hey, you should probably take that 3-point shot, and instead we saw the player pass it up. So I thought the Bulls were taking the wrong 3-point shots tonight, honestly. But they did take 33, which I appreciate. I want to always get over the 30 mark, closer to 35 if possible. But they weren't able to get to 35. They still made 7. The biggest thing for me though is that you had more free throws than the Philadelphia 76ers, right? Which is always a good thing, right? You need to, if you're not going to be able to hit from 3-point range or shoot threes in general, you have to win in other areas, which you did from the free throw line. And then the paint performance I thought was poor tonight. In the first quarter, the Bulls only had 4 paint points. Okay, that changed to then 14 going into halftime. Rest of the way, the Bulls did a pretty decent job of getting into the paint, but the first half, in terms of paint points, was god awful, right? That was way too low in terms of paint points. This was 44 paint points in double overtime, right? This was still too low in terms of paint points per game. Again, if you're not going to make the 3-point shot, then you gotta get to the paint. You gotta get the free throws. The Bulls got the free throws. They did not get into the paint enough, in my opinion. But luckily, this was a horrible shooting performance by Philly tonight. And again, credit the Bulls defense. The Bulls defense did their job. They legit held the Philadelphia 76ers to a very low percentage all night. And that's the reason why they won this game. But again, this isn't normal, right? So moving on, the Bulls have to definitely do better at getting paint points. But in this game, they got just enough to win over the 76ers. So big stuff that we saw tonight. Very quickly, I want to say this. I was very shocked by DeAnthony Melton. I've always liked DeAnthony Melton, but man, did he make some killer 3-point shots against us, and that it really killed us. And the 8-game winning. Okay, it was 8-game. My bad. It's going on Unstoppable. Somehow we managed to control the game tempo. I actually don't know about that. I think we did. I don't know. Yeah, I'll say that we did actually. Yeah, we definitely controlled this game tempo, but more so it was, I'd say, from the second quarter on. The first quarter was all Philly, right? Philly just was controlling everything in that first quarter, even though that they couldn't really score. It was, you could see that Philly just they had just a little bit of extra in that first quarter, and the Bulls could not do anything. They couldn't get on the fast break. They couldn't score in transition whatsoever, right? But we saw then in that second quarter, the Bulls, they picked up the tempo, right, and played faster when necessary, and slower also when necessary. So yeah, I'll agree with that the Bulls did control the tempo in this one. So yeah, good stuff. Man, we can get the 8th seed. I would like the 8th seed. As you can see that this, we know the Bulls front office doubled down, saying that, hey, no, we're all in. Okay, we're gonna try to force our way into the playoffs. Okay, they said that we're not gonna tank out the rest of the season. We're not gonna try to lose out. So as of right now, after this win, okay, the Bulls are now a game and a half over the Washington Wizards for the 10th seed. Okay, the Indiana Pacers, they lost tonight to Charlotte. Okay, which is very shocking, I'd say. I don't know if Tyrese Halliburton played or not, but it looks like he did not, unfortunately. But Philly, Indiana lost to the Charlotte Hornets, right? And we obviously know with Charlotte that they're down here. So that was a little bit of a shocker, just saying. But because Indiana lost to Charlotte, the Bulls now have officially a 2-game lead over the Indiana Pacers for that 10 seed. So there is some separation happening now between the 10 seed and the 12 seed, but that can go away quickly. So as of right now, there is some separation, but Bulls need to continue playing well. And unfortunately, we got Philly again on Wednesday, so we got to go in at the United Center against Embiid again and hopefully get a win there. We'll see if we do that. In terms of the people ahead of us, the Atlanta Hawks continue to have just some of these terrible losses. So I'm just going to say right now that I think Atlanta is just going to stay kind of put like around 500 and never ever going to go too far down, too far above. If you're not aware, Atlanta just lost to the San Antonio Spurs and gave up like a 24-point lead in that one in the third quarter. So the San Antonio Spurs just absolutely wrecked the Atlanta Hawks in their last game. So I think Atlanta is not going anywhere. Like, they're not going to ever keep going up. They've been stuck between like 2 games on either side of 500 for the longest period of time. So I just think Atlanta's stuck here. So they're either going to finish either 500, 1 or 2 games above 500, or 1 or 2 games below 500. The Bulls, what they need to do is that they need to continue winning and then get their record above 500, because then I think you could pass Atlanta, actually. But I don't know how realistic that is, because that's a game and a half difference currently. Atlanta, I believe, has played more games. I'll have to double check that. But I think they played 1 more game than us. So Bulls have some work to do still, but The 8th seed, it's possible. Now, I don't know about the 7th seed. I think Miami's too far ahead right now for the Bulls. That's a 4.5 game difference, but they're 5 games over 500 and we're 4 games below. So that's too far of a difference in my opinion. But if the Bulls continue to win and Atlanta just kind of stays on that 500 train that I've been saying that they're going to be on for a while, Bulls could do it. They could. But again, let's not get ahead of ourselves too much, because while this is a ginormous win, guess who we go again on Wednesday? Woo! We get to play Embiid again. So, you won tonight. I don't know if I could bet on the Bulls twice, but I do hope that the Bulls somehow win it again on Wednesday. Time for the Pat Bulls to go 2-0 against Embiid. Yeah, maybe that's it. We potentially get a matchup against Brooklyn. Maybe. It's possible. All I'm going to say is this. Between either Brooklyn or Miami, I don't think... If, let's say, the Bulls have to face them in the play-in tournament, right? I don't know if either of them... Like, I'm choosing either Miami or Brooklyn to beat the Bulls. Like, 100%... Like, full-out betting on it, right? Obviously, the Bulls they've swept the season series with Miami. And then we've seen the Bulls beat Brooklyn twice. Now, one time was with KD there. Or I think multiple times with KD there. I'm not 100% sure. But we've also seen the Bulls destroy Brooklyn, like, very, very effectively. And that was, I think, the game after the All-Star break. So, I don't know. It'd be very interesting, because if you face Brooklyn, I don't know who exactly the guys on that team, except for Mikal Bridges, obviously. And we'll see about that. And then Miami, again, the Bulls have swept the season series with them. So, yeah. I'd be okay with either matchup, honestly, and then, face whoever wins the other one. So, again, Bulls, I would like the Bulls to get into the top 8 somehow. I don't think the 6 or 7 seed is possible, so honestly, just top 8. But that'd be the ideal plan. Because, unfortunately, I think a game against the Toronto Raptors isn't exactly ideal for this Bulls team. Second win against 76ers would be a huge statement win for the Bulls. Let's root for it. I'm hoping for it, man. I truly am. I just know the reality. Yeah. This is good. Bulls get a chance to slay 76ers at home. We need this win. Continent. Oh yeah. I look, man. I do think that this Bulls team is gonna look different next season, but you still want to see this win, right? You need to see this sort of win. For this Bulls team, right? Again, the Bulls have said, the front office has said, we're not going to try to tank, right? Which I don't want the Bulls to tank, right? So they said go all in, and so the plan is to make the play-in tournament at the very least. So they're there now, but there's still a long way to go, because this is some separation, but it's not a lot. So long way to go. If you beat Philly, right? And I kind of looked at the Bulls schedule and I'm like, okay, if we beat Philly, the Bulls schedule a lot rest of the way, if they can beat the worst teams, right, it's looking pretty solid. The fact that they got one already is huge. I was hoping for one against the 76ers in this game tonight and then on Wednesday. They got one already. If you could beat them twice, that is humongous for the rest of the way, because that is something that I'm looking at. I'm like, hey, this is... Suddenly, the Bulls schedule looks a little bit easier because you got these 2 wins against Philly. So it would go a long way if the Bulls could beat Philly on Wednesday night. So we're gonna hope for it. But yeah, good stuff. What's going on, Patrick? Good, yeah, really good win, Patrick. I was thoroughly impressed with this Bulls team tonight. Again, defensively, guys, I've said this all season. Defensively, Billy Donovan and this Bulls team, defensively, they've been solid all season long, okay? Defensively, this Bulls team has been incredibly solid all season, okay? We're 5th coming into this game. We're 5th, I believe, after this game, okay? We're talking about offensively, though, with this Bulls team is still bad. We moved up a spot. We were 24th. We're now 23rd, but we just put up 109 points in overtime, okay? Or in double OT. That is still awful offensively. And again, I'm going to bring up that we just saw the Minnesota Timberwolves and New York Knicks put up 140 points and 134 points in regulation. Offensively, this Bulls team is garbage right now. But this defense, especially come playoff time, right? This defense, if this Bulls team actually does make it to the play-in tournament and we can see this level of defense, I can see this Bulls team actually winning against like a lot of the play-in teams, right? Because the play-in teams, there's some of them that defensively they're nowhere near what this Bulls team has been defensively all season, right? Again, I'm gonna continue to preach this. Defensively, this Bulls team's there. It's just gonna come down to this offense at the end of the day, and if this offense can actually start to figure itself out, because tonight was not a step in the right direction. I know it was a terrible and low-scoring affair, but this was a horrible offensive game. Let's see. Prefer to face Heat than the current Nets. We somehow get more focused on players when playing against a team with players our players respect, or just want to destroy mid-bad teams. Our players go, oh well, maybe, yeah. I do think that has been kind of the mentality, unfortunately, from this Bulls team. But yeah, could be. When we play mid/unproven teams/players, our players turn completely flaccid. Now, again, we saw this Bulls team destroyed Brooklyn, right? Even with the new squad. So, I don't exactly know how the Bulls would respond against Brooklyn, but yeah, it's something to kind of consider. If the Bulls somehow get the 8th seed, who would you rather face? I honestly just gonna say I feel pretty alright against either of them. And knowing then that if you actually do lose, you have another game, it's a good feeling. So it's obviously not ideal. You want to get to the 6th seed, but I would like to try to fight for the 8th seed. That'd be fantastic. All right, we're going to talk a little bit about the game and some of the other stuff that I want to break down here. But if you guys could, hit the like button on the stream. Helps me out a ton. I would really, really appreciate that. All right, we got to talk about the first quarter, okay? I don't know what to say, honestly, about this first quarter. Patrick, I see your comment about Zach losing the ball. We're going to talk about that because that was obviously terrible by Zach, but I'm also going to blame the rest of the team because Zach dribbled it up court, but you saw that everyone else was in the half court or in the back court still. And I'm just like, guys, like, yeah, maybe like Zach turned the ball over and he shouldn't have turned the ball over. And he also did get fouled. That's 100% on him though for not paying attention. But at the same time, my God, you just saw everyone else in the back court. Like no one else was in the front court, I think, except for Patrick Beverly at that time of possession. Like there's just everyone slow to get up there. And I'm just like, what are you guys doing? Like, the game isn't over, right? I don't know. That was a horrible turnover, but, you know, we saw 2 horrible turnovers tonight in crunch time. It didn't kill the Bulls somehow. So, well, we'll take it. Let's see. We need this win next. I agree. Yeah, we definitely need this win next. All right. Yeah, just start off with this. Okay, first quarter for the Bulls, and this is the reason why I think this Bulls offense just continues to suck. Okay, what is this? I look at this, guys. Like I don't understand this. Now I'm gonna ignore this for now because those are technically paint shots. Okay, but what is this? We don't need this. This is the garbage that I've been talking about all season with this Bulls team. Mid-range shots, especially in the first 3 quarters, it just isn't necessary. But also this, guys. When I look over at this, right, you know what the shot was? Like this shot right here, if it will ever show up. Hello? Okay, I guess it's not going to show up. These shots here were post-ups for Vooch, okay? And I'm just... That first quarter for this Bulls team, they were trying to post up Vucevic the longest time possible. It was like, try to force in the Vooch, try to force in the Vooch, try to force in the Vooch. And I'm like, it's not there, guys. And also, do you really want Nikola Vucevic against Joel Embiid in the post? Do you really want to do that? Because I don't want that. Because I know Joel Embiid's going to win that matchup, okay? I don't know what the Bulls were trying to do in that first quarter, but it was awful. And everyone's going to say, you know, perimeter-oriented, too many three-point shots. Look, man, the Bulls shot 30% from the field, okay? They shot 3 of 9 from three-point range. That's higher than their overall percentage than they shot from the field, okay? Look at everything else. We saw misses everywhere else on the court except for at the rim, which they only took 2 shots. Again, the Bulls need to get more shots in the paint in that first half entirely, but specifically that first quarter, okay? This, again, awful. I don't understand this stuff here. This doesn't make any sense, but it ain't coming back to haunt the Bulls at the very least. You see that in the third quarter, right? If the three-point shot is not actually going down, you need to get into here, okay? That means you're getting paint points, which is efficient shots, specifically shots at the rim, but then you're also getting to the free throw line, which again, the Bulls won the free throw battle tonight, which again, you're against Harden and Embiid. You never win the free throw battle, but they won it tonight. So good job by the Bulls to adjust to attacking the paint, right, in the second half, right? We saw this right here in the third quarter. We also saw a little bit more shots in the paint just in the second quarter, right? And this was mostly on fast break opportunities, so it's a little bit different. But this is what I'm talking about. Like, you have to be better in terms of your shot selection if you're the Bulls. You can't just be forcing these post-ups and mid-range shots. It's not going to work, okay? So, fourth quarter, again, we saw this, but I always say in the fourth quarter is a different game. You can take those mid-range shots in the fourth quarter. I'm totally fine with that, especially if it's between DeRozan, Levine, and Vooch. It's fine, because the fourth quarter is a different game. But first three quarters, you have to do better, okay? Because we tend to see also in the fourth quarter that we see more mid-range just from all teams, right? I got like Embiid, for example, is going to be knocking down these shots in crunch time, right? That's fine, but it's the first three quarters, they just have to do better. So Bulls, again, you see more mid-range shots here, and then also I believe in the oh no, never mind. We actually somehow it was mostly through free throws in that OT. So again, this Bulls team it has to be better in terms of shot selection. Hence why we only scored 109 points in 58 minutes tonight. It's pretty awful. But defensively, I give them a lot of credit. I saw the Bulls adjust where they got a ton of fast break opportunities, which is something that we needed to see, right? Bulls had 14 points in the fast break. Philly had 19 as well. But we saw that. We also saw second chance points. The Bulls won this battle too. And then points off turnovers was also another thing. I guess I can't see this on here, unfortunately. But Bulls were getting some more points off the turnovers from Philly, because Philly had 10 turnovers in the first half, if I'm not mistaken. So that's where it's like this Bulls team has to do better in taking advantage, and they did. They eventually got to it, but it has to be right from the get-go, right? That first quarter, in terms of shot selection, is probably one of the worst I've seen all game and all season, but also not just shot selection, but also play calling, right? That play calling that we saw in that first quarter was dreadful, and I don't know what Billy Donovan was thinking, but again, we're not going to focus on that too heavily. Now, in terms of defense, okay, I thought Billy Donovan made a lot of good adjustments in this game defensively. I have said this all season, okay, and Billy Donovan in his coaching tenure has always been a good defensive coach, except for last season, right? Last season, things happened. But this season, though, we've seen that this Bulls team has been good defensively, and Billy Donovan overall in his track record has been good defensively. We saw Derrick Jones Jr. get a lot more minutes than usual tonight. He played when Embiid was off the court, and when Embiid went off the court, we saw that Philly went small with Paul Reed out there. And I like Paul Reed, but we know with Paul Reed that he is 6'10", maybe 6'9", right? He's a lot smaller. You know that Philly is not going to kill you inside and on the glass when they don't have Embiid out there, right? So I applaud Billy Donovan for going small and putting Derrick Jones Jr. out there to at least get a little bit more versatility on the defensive end to switch everything. But then also in the transition game, we saw Derrick Jones Jr. be huge in the transition opportunities, and he helped spark the Bulls to get going a little bit more in transition and play faster, right? Because we need to see this Bulls team play faster against Philly, because you don't want to be in the offense when Embiid is back there defensively, right? We don't want to see that. So we saw that from this Bulls team, from Billy Donovan. He made that good adjustment in terms of defense, right? And then late in double overtime, where we saw that Derrick Jones Jr. block, that was a gutsy move by Billy Donovan. But I also give him credit for that one, because we saw that the Bulls were going to switch everything on that defensive possession. Again, Embiid fouled out in double overtime, so you're allowed to go ahead and play a little bit smaller. And with the way that possession was going to go through with Philly with the sideline out of bounds play, Billy Donovan was like, all right, I'm going to bet on just switching everything and not allowing Philly to get an open look or open jump shot look or open cut to the basket. He decided we're going to switch everything, and then Derrick Jones Jr. was there for the help side block when Patrick Williams got beat by James Harden, right? That's a fantastic decision by Billy Donovan, okay? He deserves credit for that. But as I said, in terms of offense, man, offensively, Billy Donovan needs to do better, because this right here, this opening quarter was pretty dreadful, and then throughout the game, we saw little bits and pieces of the Bulls getting better. But again, 109 points in 58 minutes, I think, is just an absolute travesty. That's just unacceptable in today's era. You just can't play this way, right? You have to put up more than 109 points in 58 minutes. Luckily, Philly was struggling tonight too, so again, defensively, give him credit, but this right here is just straight up unacceptable from Billy Donovan and crew. So I again, huge credibility defensively, but that offense tonight was extremely difficult to watch, unfortunately. Yeah. We need to break 3 winning streaks. We need to break 3 winning streaks we have so far. Go for 4 straight win. Yeah, the Bulls haven't been able to get that 4th win in a row, unfortunately. Julius Randle 57 tonight. Oh yeah, Julius Randle had 57 tonight, and again, New York Knicks 134 points. Regulation. Bulls 109 points. Double overtime. I don't know, man. Comment on Drummond tonight. Drummond. I'm happy with what Billy Donovan did. I know Drummond played for like a little bit. It was very, very short amount of time, but I liked what Billy Donovan did, choosing Derrick Jones Jr. over Drummond. Now, in other matchups, right, if there's a big coming off the bench, you need Drummond out there. You can't get away with Derrick Jones Jr. running that 5 position if there's a pretty overall big dude that is going to be playing that backup center role. But we saw tonight that you can get away with Derrick Jones Jr. out there if Embiid was not out there, right? So I think that this is overall a solid decision by Donovan. I don't think Drummond did anything wrong. Nothing that I'm like really thinking out loud that I'm like, yeah, I don't remember Drummond doing anything negatively. So 6 minutes, not a lot of time, obviously, for him, so not much to really comment on him. I fear against Embiid. Nothing out of the ordinary. He picked up 2 fouls. I'll say that. Yeah, like to stream what I missed so far. Just us celebrating that the Bulls beat Embiid finally. I mean, finally they beat Embiid. And then me criticizing the Bulls only putting up 109 points in 58 minutes, but giving credit for the Bulls defense tonight, which was spectacular defensively. If we keep playing like we have been in the last 5 to 6 games, I can see us going from 9 to 2 to 7 to 4 in the remaining games. Potentially, yeah. I can also kind of see that. I could see that this Bulls team is if we actually get that Philly win, I can potentially see that. Right, we go 9-2 or 7-4. That is possible. And again, the biggest thing right now for this Bulls team, as I said, they have to get back to 500 and get over 500. Okay, even if you finish 42 and 40, I think that's a win. Because again, I don't know about Atlanta right now. I think Atlanta is kind of stuck, that they're not going up or higher or lower right now. So if you can just get over 500, you might be able to snag the 8th seed, right? Now, Toronto's also here. Who knows what Toronto's going to do? So maybe Toronto moves up or something. But I'm more focused right now on Atlanta because I think Atlanta's going to be stuck. I don't know exactly what Toronto's going to be doing. So that'll be very interesting to watch. Well, Dalen, nothing from Dalen tonight. I loved his... when Derrick Jones Jr. got that block on James Harden, we saw Dalen do the finger, right? That was awesome. I loved that. But no minutes from Dalen Terry tonight. Now Javonte Green returned, which was I think a huge plus. Only played about 9 minutes, but with no Caruso tonight, we had to see someone go into the rotation, and then we saw Javonte kind of take Caruso's minutes in a sense. Most of Caruso's minutes was made up by Patrick Williams, Kobe White, and Derrick Jones Jr., right? But we saw Javonte get a little bit of time out there, and it was good to see Javonte back on the court because we definitely need it. Is Ja going to be back in the RS, or is he missing all the Grizzlies games till the playoffs? I believe John Morant is supposed to return on Wednesday, from what I read from a tweet that Taylor Jenkins said. So yeah, we need Boston to keep winning. I'd much rather play them in the first round if we make the playoffs. I agree with you. I would like for Boston to be the matchup that we face, but yeah, I don't know. It'd be kind of tough to kind of force that to be the matchup that we get, because I know that we just won against Philly tonight, which is obviously it's huge. The way that Embiid has been playing, it's pretty scary for the rest of the league. And Boston has sucked, right? Boston has not played well recently whatsoever, right? So I don't know how Boston's going to fare for the rest of the season. And I just know that Philly is just going up and up and up. So I would hope that Boston would be able to kind of figure it out, but I don't know. it'd be really tough to kind of see what's gonna happen. Not gonna lie, Jason Tatum has not played well recently. Sorry, Boston fans. Sorry. All right. I also thought this big three again tonight: 26, 25, and then 21. They did their job. They came through when it mattered the most. We're gonna talk about a couple of plays that I was kind of concerned with. That silent out of bounds play at the end of regulation for that DeMar DeRozan 3. Not exactly my favorite shot, but we'll talk about it. Also thought that the Bulls could have ran a few more things better in overtime, but we'll talk about that as we go on, and hopefully some of the plays come in. Please, nope. Okay, yeah, I'll have to bring up the YouTube TV, unfortunately here, unless maybe I just need to refresh. But we're gonna talk about a couple things. I want to go over some film tonight because there's some stuff that I'm gonna continue to be livid at because I don't understand what the Bulls offense really starts thinking about. Tyus Jones been balling as a starter, by the way. Oh yeah, I've been aware, guys. He just had a triple double recently. The reason why I want the Bulls to get him, I want Tyus Jones on this Bulls team next season, because Lonzo Ball is not going to play next season. So yeah, I'd love to see it. Billy can't draw up those types of plays to save his life. He drew up a few good plays earlier in the year, right? I was actually thoroughly impressed with some of the plays that he drew up earlier in the year. But then, since that Knicks game where DeRozan hit that game winner in Madison Square Garden, I think he's had just terrible plays since. And we'll talk about this one because I'm not as critical as the one tonight where DeRozan took that 3. I'm gonna give my opinion on it, but I'm not gonna be as critical, and I'll explain why. But yeah, 34 minutes per game. He's averaging 16.5 points, 8.5 assists, 4.5 rebounds on 49, 39, 79 splits. Yeah, Tyus Jones, man. If Bulls fans right now, I'm just telling you, because Lonzo Ball's career is very much in jeopardy, and we also know that next season is pretty much down the toilet for him, right? Go look at Tyus Jones, because I think that the Bulls, if they're going to try to figure out this point guard situation, I think that they could potentially make a run at Tyus Jones because of his contract, and also that the Memphis Grizzlies, they can't give him a contract extension. Tyus Jones has been the starting point guard since Ja Morant has been out. If you're not aware of Tyus Jones' game, go look at it right now, because he has been phenomenal since Ja Morant has been out, and Tyus Jones has just been a solid backup star his entire career. He has the lowest assist to turnover, or has the best assist to turnover ratio in the league, right? He doesn't turn the ball over. He's a good ball handler, good playmaker. So I know it's going to take a trade, but I'm just considering it. And I said that on stream a couple of streams ago that I think Tyus Jones could be a guy the Bulls look at. Go look at him. If you haven't, if you don't know Tyus Jones' game, he's been very, very solid for Memphis since all season, and then even when he's been starting, he's just been better. So yeah, go look at that. All right, I need to pull up YouTube TV, so give me 1 second because I need to pull up the stream or not stream, the game, and then we're gonna talk about a few things because yikes, there is some stuff there that I'm just like, oh boy, this Bulls team continues to have issues, but it is what it is, and we were able to survive those issues tonight, and we should be very thankful that that's exactly what happened. All right, hold on. Sorry, give me 1 second. I'm pulling this up now. You might hear some noises. That is the recording being pulled up. Sorry about that commercial sound. All right, here we go. Let's talk about this. Okay, we're gonna scroll all the way over to the end here, and I want to talk about the Zach LaVine turnover. Okay, because there was a turnover that was pretty bad by Zach in double at the second overtime that we're gonna talk about, and we're gonna talk about it and really be critical of him. Because it was just a terrible turnover, and I don't exactly know what Zach's thinking in this situation, but I'm also pissed off at the rest of the team. Okay, let's just watch this. Okay, so this is the possession for the 76ers. We see, oh no, I think actually did I go back too far? All right, here's possession. Here's possession for the 76ers. Okay, no, never mind. Hold on, I don't know, where am I? Sorry. No, I was actually right the first time. Okay, we're going back. Sorry. This is a possession for the 76ers, and what was funny was that Joe Coley sent out a tweet, okay, and it somehow keeps pulling up. I don't know why Joe Coley keeps coming up on my feed. It's probably because I'm Bull's Twitter, but I don't want to see Joe Coley's stuff. I think the dude's not very smart. But let's see here. He sent out this tweet because Tyrese Maxey had an isolation attempt on Zach, and he drew the foul on Zach. Okay, it ended up not being a shooting foul, but he drew a foul on Zach, and Coley's saying it should have been a shooting foul. Well, the thing is that on the Embiid last foul, where Embiid fouled out, I thought Zach should have been in the motion of shooting, but they called that one on the floor as well. So they were consistent with that at least. Okay, but let's talk about this. Okay, Zach is on Tyrese Maxey again. Okay, and we see he gets over the screen here, and then Maxey drives, Zach blocks his shot. So screw you, Joe Coley, because as I've said all the time, Zach LaVine's on-ball defense has been solid all season and throughout his entire career. As you can see here, Zach LaVine got the block on Tyrese Maxey. Fantastic block. Now, let's just watch this, okay? That's a foul, right? This is a foul. I don't know what the officials are exactly looking at here, but that's a foul. Now, right here is where I'm critical, because if you're these guys, okay, you need to come to the ball, because you can see here that there are 3 76ers coming up, and if you're Vucevic, I know you just had to save the ball. You gotta get up here, right? You cannot be stuck back here, because you need to take these defenders away from Zach. Because that this is all 3 of these guys are here, this allows DeAnthony Melton to come on in and rip the ball away from Zach. So again, Zach needs to do 100% a better job of just being aware, right, of what's exactly happening. But at the same time, I don't know what these 3 guys are doing. If you're Patrick Beverley, you need to come and get the ball. If you're DeMar DeRozan, same thing. P. Will, you can go over to the corner. I don't care. But this is the reason why I've been saying that the Bulls need a point guard, okay? And I'm also saying this too. I'm sorry, Lonzo fans. They need a point guard that's not Lonzo Ball. Partly due to health, but also I just don't think Lonzo's very, very confident with the ball in his hands when there's pressure by the defense, okay? We need a point guard that can actually handle the ball when the defensive pressure goes up, right? They're not going to turn it over, not going to be loose with the handle, right? We've seen this multiple times with Zach, where he thinks he's past one guy, but then he gets stripped from behind. A point guard doesn't turn this ball over, right? This is where the Bulls desperately need a point guard, and it drives me insane that we still haven't figured this out. I appreciate what Beverly has done, but let's be honest, Patrick Beverly needs to be on the bench for this Bulls team to be going anywhere, right? I want Patrick Beverly here, but he needs to be on the bench. He's the point guard right now, so I would come on over here, but again, you know, it's hindsight. I just don't like how everyone's so far away from the ball. You need to come to the ball in the situation, because you know if you're the Bulls that they're going to come and trap the ball, okay? They don't need to foul in this situation. They're going to come and trap this, right? And they get the strip on Zach, right? So, and Zach deserves all the blame in this situation. He was not aware of Wolf, right? This is called Wolf. When a defender is behind the ball handler and is coming up behind them, you call out Wolf because they're coming in to steal the ball. But, and no one called it out. Zach turned it over, and Philadelphia gets his possession. So, I don't know. Just overall, just bad execution by the Bulls in this one. I'm not gonna say that Zach's like, you know, out of this one. Like, he deserves all the criticism in this scenario. Again, though, I'm gonna be critical of everyone else because it just seems like, again, I don't know why Vooch is all the way back here. The game's not over, right? Like, yeah, you got the stop, but there's 35 seconds left to go. You got to get up to the front court, okay? You got to make yourself available. And we see here that it costs the ball. So, yeah. All right, that's that one. Now, I want to go to the play. If I can, I'm just gonna use this as a helping stun. Okay, I just want to double check. Oh no, I forget. It's this one. Or 5 seconds. Okay, it's 5 seconds left remaining. I'm gonna change the music here. All right, let's talk about this out of the timeout play by Billy Donovan with 5 seconds left to go in the first overtime. Okay, so this is with the DeMar DeRozan missed 3-point shot that we saw I'm gonna. All right, here we go. So here it is. Let's watch this, okay? Now, I'm. This has been a big criticism of mine from Billy all season, okay? I've been pretty critical of Billy's out of the timeout plays, or sideline out of the timeout, or out of bounds plays, right? This is a play that I'm not as critical of when it comes to this one. I'm not exactly thrilled with the shot, but I'll explain why. I'm like, okay, you kind of got what you want, right? And the reason why I'm critical of Billy is because he'll draw up a ton of plays where the Bulls don't get what they want, right? We see plays drawn by Billy Donovan that it's like the Bulls get nothing close to what they want, right? When I remember, what was it? I think it was against the Pacers, when after Halliburton hit that three or whatever, and we tried to get a 3-point shot out of the timeout, and it went to Vooch, and Vooch missed it. But the initial play was to Zach, and I looked at that play. I'm like, I don't know what the hell is happening there. The Bulls got a shot at least, but it just, the idea was to get the ball to Zach, right? And to get him a 3-point shot. Bulls couldn't even get it to Zach. In this situation here, let's watch it, okay? Kobe White starts up here. He's going to flare out to the corner, clear out his man. He's taking Tobias Harris all the way out of this play, okay? That's good. Patrick Beverley's inbounding the ball. We see that Vucevic comes up here to set... Sorry, that's highlighter. Vucevic comes down here, sets a down screen for DeRozan to come up to the top of the key, okay? Which is also pretty solid. Now, another thing, too, that I overall liked about this was we saw then this action, okay? The whole entire play of this is to get DeMar DeRozan an isolation shot. Like, you want DeRozan to take the shot one-on-one. You do not want anybody else to come over and double-team DeMar DeRozan in this scenario, okay? This is what the entire plan is, okay? So, just keep this in mind. We see here with Levine and Beverley... Sorry, I keep hitting highlighter. Levine comes up, sets a flare screen for Beverley to come off of. What this is going to do is that this is going to occupy these two defenders so that they can't come on over to double team DeMar DeRozan very quickly, right? Because if, let's just say that nothing happened with these two guys, you could see easily Tyrese Maxey just coming on over to double DeMar DeRozan off the bat, right? We could see that happening, and then suddenly what the Bulls want in this situation is gone, right? Where DeMar DeRozan didn't get the one-on-one opportunity, okay? So you see Zach and Beverley, they do this action here, right? And this occupies Tyrese Maxey. This makes sure that the Anthony Melton has to be aware of what happens with this action. So you can't come on over and double team DeMar DeRozan very quickly. At this point now, there's 3 seconds left to go, which is going to allow enough time for DeMar DeRozan to go ahead and take this one-on-one shot. Now, I'm not thrilled with this shot. I think if... And I think Cody Westerland also tweeted this. If I'm going to bring up an isolation attempt to the top of the key here, and then ask this person, whoever it is, to just do a straight up one-on-one matchup, and from 35 feet from the basket, and figure it out, right? Just saying, I'm choosing Zach, okay? I'm aware that DeMar DeRozan has hit all these shots before, but we've seen with DeRozan that he typically... You want him to like kind of get to the spot in the silent out of bounds play, right? You don't want to see DeRozan out here and then trying to force his way into the mid-range shot and then hopefully still have the one-on-one and then knock it down. That's the reason why I'm not the biggest fan of this whole idea of like, let's just have this person come up to the top of the key, catch the ball here, right? And we're going to isolate and it's going to be one-on-one and then we're going to just let them go. Not exactly what I would have liked. We saw in that New York Knicks game where DeRozan hit that game winner in Madison Square Garden, right? Which I'm gonna try to pull this up quickly if I can. Let's watch this play, okay? Because this is very similar to the situation the Bulls were in, right? This was I apologize for how blurry this is, but this was the game winner for DeMar DeRozan in Madison Square Garden, right? 6 seconds left to go. The Bulls had 5 seconds, okay? And this right here is where I'm like, why don't we run something similar to this, something like this? Okay, let's watch it. So we see here, DeMar DeRozan gets the ball at the top of the key. He's not out here at the very least, but it's very similar start. But then what we see is then Zach comes up to set the screen, and then DeMar DeRozan's able to come off the screen. What this does is that this forces the defense to make a decision, right? If let's just play it here, right? Sorry. With this screen, okay, the New York Knicks, they either have to switch this, right? And then it gives DeMar DeRozan the one-on-one matchup, but he's also then able to get into the mid-range area, which again is where he shoots the best, okay? I would just like to see this sort of action in this scenario where you have LaVine set the on-ball screen. If both guys if both RJ Barrett and whoever, this is Quentin Grimes, I'm guessing, go with Zach or go with DeMar. Like, let's say DeMar comes off of this, and then we see both RJ Barrett go and Quentin Grimes go with DeRozan. Well, then we got Zach LaVine is coming off over here for a wide open 3-point shot, right? If we see both go towards Zach, obviously DeRozan's wide open, which you're probably not going to see that situation. But if, let's say that they either switch this or they just try to stay at home with each guy, right? Which we see in this scenario, right? They switch it. This allows DeRozan to then get into this mid-range area, okay? That little screen gets this defender just far enough away from him so that he can get into this mid-range shot here. This is what I would have liked to have seen instead of a DeMar DeRozan 3-point shot, but that's just me personally. And as I said, I thought Billy Donovan, up until this point in the season, right, with this specific play, I thought he was doing a pretty good job with the silent out of bounds. But we see in this scenario, we see it, right? It's a good silent out of bounds play. It's a good play. It gets exactly what you want. This play though, that we just went over, sorry, I don't personally think that this was drawn up well enough. Billy Donovan got exactly what he wanted in this scenario. He got everything that he wanted. He got the one-on-one matchup, right? That with DeMar DeRozan isolated. I just think that I would much rather see DeRozan in that mid-range shot. And I know I've been saying don't shoot mid-range, right? But as I said, fourth quarter is a different story. And DeMar DeRozan, I know, shoots better from mid-range than he does from three. I would rather play the percentages there. So that's just my opinion on this one. It's not the worst thing in the world, right? It's not the worst thing in the world, but not exactly the best. I don't think it's the best thing that I saw either. Yeah. Goes a clown, yeah. In this situation, P-Bo should be making a beeline to the paint straight up. Yeah. Okay, I see what you're talking about. With the Zach LaVine turnover, yeah. Let's see here. Past time, y'all just missed an epic finish in Japan versus Mexico. Who won, David? I want to know who won, because I've been like I haven't watched it, but I've been keeping track on Twitter. I know that guy Sasaki was throwing over 100, and that was insane. Japan walked out. Oh my god, we're actually getting the USA versus Japan. Oh man, and Yu Darvish is starting. Japan's a really good chance. That's all I'm gonna say. All right, moving on from baseball though. All right, let's talk about the DeMar DeRozan turnover, because this was also not very solid. This was not good. Because I'm gonna explain to you why this was probably. I think that this was probably the worst time for a turnover for the Bulls, and I'll explain this as I discuss this. Okay, I just think that this was one of the worst times ever for a turnover. Okay, let's watch this. All right, yet again, the Bulls get what they want. Okay, 12 seconds left to go. 21 seconds left. DeMar DeRozan is isolating against Tobias Harris. Okay, and Tobias Harris is he's done a pretty decent job, but again, we're gonna take the isolation play here. I cannot stress to you how bad this turnover was. Tobias Harris didn't even do anything. DeMar just lost the ball. Okay, now it's not necessarily just about DeRozan losing the ball in this situation that it makes this turnover bad. What makes this turnover extremely bad is the time remaining. Right, there's 14 seconds left to go. There is plenty of time right now for Philly. Okay, and the Bulls just turned over the ball right here. Okay, we see that the only guy that is really back is Zach. Here's DeRozan, right? Everyone else is over here, and Philly is going to be able to take this ball, and if they wanted to, they could have just bolted, right? That is the reason why his turnover was just so bad. It's just the timing of it all, and then with the amount of time remaining, they could have absolutely just bolted, but they decided to hold on to it, right? They didn't bolt. We see the Bulls get back. Good job by Patrick Williams to get back here, because if he wasn't back here, this is an easy layup for Philly. Okay, now the issue that I was looking at was across the court here was that there are mismatches everywhere, right? And the biggest mismatch, really honestly, was this: DeMar DeRozan's on Tyrese Maxey. Okay, this was scary because not only because you turn the ball over that you see Philly is just going to be able to run. This was just this was a mismatch right here, and I'm like, oh my god, we're going to lose now, because if the Bulls, let's say, missed the shot, I don't think that Philly gets all these mismatches on the floor, right? Maybe Doc Rivers calls timeout, but they probably slow walk it up. Instead, though, that turnover allows the mismatch to come, and then we see here DeMar DeRozan comes over to double team James Harden, which I don't mind. Zach needs to be here, though, and this is where Zach, I think, almost failed here, right? In my opinion, Zach needs to be here. He has to be here quicker. He eventually gets out here, but it's a little late. Thank God for Patrick Beverley for coming on over here to contest it. They missed it. I thought that Embiid tip-in was also going to go in, but he missed that one as well. So, Bulls dodge a bullet. That's all I'm going to say. That turnover by DeMar was just, it could not have been more poorly timed. I know it's just, it's a mistake. I continue to say that, look, superstars are never perfect down the stretch. We see superstars turn it over all the time down the stretch. It happens, okay? Missed free throws happen. We saw DeMar DeRozan. He missed a free throw in overtime tonight, okay? It happens. Just that turnover itself, if I could just ask anything, don't turn it over right there, because there was so much going Philly's way with that turnover. Bulls are so lucky you got to double overtime, because I thought for sure that the 76ers were just going to win off of that turnover. I'm like, oh my god. Because right when I saw that ball get turned over, I'm like, oh, we've lost. So yeah, I thought that was a smart decision by Doc Rivers, by the way, to not call timeout after they got the ball back, right? I thought that was extremely smart, because again, the mismatches were there. DeRozan was on Tyrese Maxey, and then we saw that they tried to take advantage of it, right? DeRozan then came off of Tyrese Maxey to double team James Harden, which I don't really mind. It's just a little bit ambitious in my opinion. Bulls dodged the bullet. That's all I'm going to say. And luckily, the 76ers did not drain this shot or the tip in. And the Bulls won in double overtime. So yeah. Totally agree. DeMar should have threw it to Levine. That's not exactly what I'm saying. For either of these scenarios. I don't think that DeMar DeRozan in this scenario, on the turnover, for example, I don't think he needed to throw it to Levine. And I also don't think he needed to throw it to Levine on the 5-second three-point shot that he took at the end of overtime. I don't think you need to throw it to Levine in either of those situations. I just don't think the play calling by Billy Donovan was smart. And then in this one, it's just bad turnover by DeRozan, right? There's nothing else that we can really say about it. He can't lose the ball right there. And again, if anything, if you have to jack up a shot, I would much rather just see you jack up the shot than turn it over there. Because if you turn it over there with the amount of guys the Bulls had back, and again, the mismatches, everything was against the Bulls in that scenario, but we survived it. So I was very, very thankful that that Maxey did not hit that shot. But yeah. So luckily the Bulls were able to survive that, and they won it in double overtime. Still down the stretch, the execution needs to be a little bit better, but I do think that overall, besides this play here, and then the Levine turnover late, and then that DeMar DeRozan three-point shot, which I'm blaming on Billy Donovan for that one. Out of the Bulls in crunch time, they were pretty much doing everything right. We saw both Levine and DeRozan, they were putting up points in OT and in crunch time, right? That's exactly what we had to see for both those guys, because we knew that Embiid was going to be coming down, and luckily for us, James Harden was struggling, right? So Tyrese Maxey was the other dude. So if those two guys have two guys, if the Philadelphia 76ers have two guys, and that means we need to have two guys coming right back at them. And both Levine and DeRozan, they were able to do that. We saw DeRozan make clutch shots. We saw Levine make clutch free throws. So it's how it has to go. Unfortunately, with this Bulls team in overtime and plus, right? Yeah. big credit to these two guys. They hit some big shots to either get the Bulls back in it or take the lead or just tie it. It just is all over the place. So, give them a lot of credit. And overall, just give everybody credit for the defense down the stretch. I thought the Bulls did a fantastic job of denying Embiid the ball as much as possible down the stretch, because you know that the 76ers, they want to just isolate Embiid, right? That is the straight up offense for the Philadelphia 76ers at the end of a game. It's just, all right, Embiid, go isolate, because we know that you're one of the best in the league, right? And we saw that the Bulls did a good job of denying Embiid the ball, specifically in overtime. I'll say we saw, not as well done in regulation, but in overtime, we saw that the Bulls were making Tyrese Maxey and James Harden be the decision makers, which that is, those two guys are threats, but that's an MVP candidate that we're taking the ball out of their hands, right? That's what I would like to see. And the Bulls did that pretty often in overtime. So again, give the defense credit. The defense deserves a ton of credit. Everybody that played today, I thought, played great defense. So just really solid stuff overall. Guys, look up to this. What's going on, Lob Mob? Pinch me and must be dreaming. You're not dreaming. The Bulls actually beat Joel Embiid. They did it. Lob Mob. They actually did it, and I cannot be more shocked. I'm not surprised that you're thinking you're dreaming. I can't believe that the Bulls actually did it, but they did it. It was a very low-scoring game in 58 minutes, but the Bulls did it, so I'll give them credit. Talk about 2009 Hito Turkoglu. What does that mean exactly, Oliver? Let's see here. Who's better, Steph or Jordan Poole? Obviously Steph. What's going on, Java ZR? Hope I'm saying that right. Yeah, obviously Steph is better. I like Jordan Poole, but he is nowhere near what Steph Curry is, or has been. So, yeah, that's an interesting question. Japan walk-up, we're down 3-0, then we're down 5-4. Oh, wow, I see. Jeez. That's a big comeback by Japan, then. Oh, my God. Not gonna lie, David, I don't feel good about USA's chances tomorrow. I don't feel good. You Darvish on the mound? That I don't even know the name of the pitcher for the United States starting the game. Doesn't Hito was pretty cool. He was pretty cool. I do agree with that. What happened to Io? I'm just gonna say this. No injuries, by the way, with Io. Io has been very disappointing recently. I don't like the way he's playing. He had some good blocks tonight. I don't know if you guys have seen the whole catch and think, right? The whole catch and think saying I've been saying a lot. Like MK Hoops started that saying, so he deserves all the credit. But I've been also saying it as well. The catch and think guys, I would assume it was a catch and think guy, and those types of guys, they are always stuck in purgatory, right? They never shoot the three ball and they never drive with authority. They are always in between both. And then they don't know what to do. They're indecisive, and then it leads to a turnover. It leads to a bad shot. It just leads to a lot of missed opportunities in general. And with Io, he's stuck in that, in the catch and think mode, right? And I'm just overall upset seeing that, because I thought in his rookie season he did such a great job of not doing that, right? He would never really catch and think, right? It would be a lot of him just being decisive with the basketball, shooting the three ball with confidence, right? I'm aware his 3-point shot right now is not going down. It's gone down at a very low rate this season, and his 3-point percentage in his rookie year was a lot higher. But yeah, I just think, man, he needs to work on just decision making moving forward. So I'm a little bit concerned about him. I do think the Bulls re-sign him, by the way. With the way that he's played, and like we don't even have to worry about his restricted free agency, by the way. I don't think a team is gonna go out and give him any big money or anything. And if they do, then you know what, I'm willing to actually let him go. But I think the Bulls can easily re-sign Io for cheap. And if he's the starting point guard for Lonzo, fine. If he's the backup point guard, I think that's probably what he's best suited for. I'm also good with that. But yeah, I'm not liking how Io's played recently. His defense is always gonna be there. It's his offense right now that is very much in question. His transition game is always going to be there. It's just the half court right now is a struggle bus for him, and I'm not exactly thrilled with what I've seen this season. Sophomore slump is a thing. So I'm not giving up on him. I'm just not very happy with some of the things. Like, if let's say he suddenly was, shooting this low of a percentage for 3-point range, but he was still attacking the basket hard, I'd be fine. Like, I would expect the 3-point percentage to go down. But the fact that he is being indecisive on those catch and think opportunities, right? He's just catching and thinking, not driving hard to the basket, not shooting the basketball, and he's getting called for a bunch of travels because of it. I'm not happy. So yeah, that's my biggest thing with Ayo. I'm rooting for him though. I think the Bulls re-sign him, and I think he's gonna eventually become a pretty decent player. Maybe not a starter, but he needs to do better. And I gave him a lot of praise before this season started, and I look like an idiot right now. So yeah, not exactly happy about Ayo's production this season. What's your NFL team? I guess Bears fan. This is a Chicago Bulls post game stream, so no, I'm gonna say a lot of people in chat, their favorite NFL team is the Bears as well. All right, sorry, switching up the music here. I want to talk about one more thing in terms of just overall looking at the game here, okay? And I want to go back to the first quarter, okay? I need to go look at the timeline. Sorry. Let's look at this first quarter, and then I need to find a Zach LaVine turnover that I did not like to see. And it's basically exactly what you guys are going to be thinking, which is that we decided to try to post up Vucevic, which makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. 802. Let's look at this then. Okay. I'm gonna guess this is possession. It could not be. What we're gonna see though. Let's just watch this through. All right. So here is this play. Now, just saying off the bat, okay. I'm aware Vucevic has whoever this is. It's the Anthony Melton. I'm not even sure who this is, honestly. Is this Daniel House? Who started tonight? Hold on. Let me just. Sorry, I just want to double check that I have the names right. So yeah, okay, it's Daniel House. All right, let's watch this. Okay, I'm aware that Vucevic is Daniel House on him. Stacey King is constantly saying, "Vucevic is a mismatch. Give it to him in the post. Give it to him in the post." And I'm just like, my God, I don't want to hear that anymore. It's really annoying. Okay, now I do think that when Vucevic comes off the pick and roll hard and then seals his man down low, and he's like basically right underneath the basket, yeah, that's when you give it to Vucevic. But I don't want to see Vuce have a mismatch, but like let's say he has a mismatch and he's like over here, right? Like if Vuce has a mismatch, he needs to be in the paint, like directly here, and then I give it to him. But I'm not gonna give it to him over here and have him try to post up over there. It doesn't make any sense, okay? Again, post up, if you're new to this, post up is inefficient. It's just straight up inefficient basketball. I'm sick and tired of this. But we see here that mismatch for Vucevic, okay. So ideally, what I would like to see just DeMar DeRozan just take advantage of this, okay? This is a mismatch also, by the way, and because Embiid's out on DeMar DeRozan, like, you could do multiple things with this. The shot blocker right now for the Philadelphia 76ers is not stuck in the paint, right, which he would usually be on, right? So it's either DeMar DeRozan takes advantage of this, or you throw it to Zach LaVine, right, and then he can take advantage of this. And then take advantage of the shot blocker for the 76ers being out of the paint. But instead, we see this, okay? We throw it to Zach, and then look at what happens, right? We see that Vuce comes on over here, and he tries to post up, and I'm just like, what are we doing, man? Like, you see what Embiid's doing? They're denying this post-up action, okay? And this is the reason why, again, it takes too long, it's not effective, it's not a good basketball decision. And we try to see Zach force this in. Well, guess what? Daniel House just comes on over. This is not an issue on Zach, by the way. This is on Vucevic for not being able to seal Daniel House, for God's sake. He has to seal Daniel House. That is straight up inexcusable. But also, again, why are we doing this? Why are we posting him up? It doesn't make any sense. I'm aware that he's right here, but we have Embiid lurking. It just doesn't make any sense. And if Vucevic can't seal Daniel House and allows this to happen, he should never be posting up. Okay? We saw Vucevic take a lot of post-up shots tonight. The one that he made that was crucial was in overtime, but we saw a shot in the first quarter that I'm just like, what? Like, we don't need to see it, okay? And I'm honestly I'm willing to even just look for it right now, because was it the first possession of the game? That's how bad it was. And this is the reason why I'm like, look, if Nikola Vucevic was Joel Embiid, right? If he was Joel Embiid in terms of a post-up option, that he dominates the post-up game, okay? If that was actually the case with him, then it's a different story, okay? But right now, Nikola Vucevic is not a post-up, is not a very good post-up option. He's very average in terms of his post-up ability, okay? So with that in mind, right, you don't need to be posting him up all the time. There's more efficient ways to play basketball than playing through Nikola Vucevic in the post, okay? I wish, like, one thing that I thought that we get when we got Vuce was an actual post-up option. That never came to fruition, right? That never actually happened. And it's like, everyone thinks that he is a post-up option, but he's just not. And it's reasons why, like this, okay? You have Daniel House on you. You do not have Joel Embiid on you, okay? You need to take advantage of this. If you're actually going to be a post-up option for this Bulls team, you need to take advantage of this, okay? And guess what he does? That shows me he's rushed. That shows me he doesn't know exactly what to do. That shows me he's not willing to use his physical size to make that shot. He's relying on his post hook, right? Come on. This is why Vucevic should not be a post-up option in this Bulls offense. But Billy Donovan has been running post-up plays for Vucevic all season long. And most of the time, it doesn't end well, right? And everyone's like, well, if he gets double-teamed, then he throw it back out. Again, if you double-team the post-up in today's game, because there's always 4 perimeter guys on the floor, you're able to double-team it very easily and then recover very easily, okay? It's just not effective anymore, okay? And I just wish we could see this go away. But that right there is part of the reason why this Bulls offense has sucked all season and extremely sucked in this first quarter. We don't need to see that, okay? Now, one play that I do like that Billy Donovan has been running for Vucevic, and we're going to talk about this. Sorry, I want to bring up the second quarter. It's the Zach LaVine incredible finish that he made at the, near the end of the first half. Like it was just a fantastic shot that he made. Go ahead. We need 122 on the game clock. This sort of play here, I actually like this sort of play, because what this does is that this uses Vucevic's shooting ability to get the shot blocker out of the paint, right? We saw both DeRozan and LaVine challenge Embiid today, and they both got blocked, right? And I know Zach won a few times, like we're going to see in this possession, but like, again, it's challenging Joel Embiid. It's tough to challenge him. So what we actually have been seeing is this here, which I actually think it's a very innovative idea, and it's very modern, which is something that Billy Donovan, it's shocking to even say that, because I feel like Billy Donovan has not run plays like this all season, but we're starting to see this more, which you see Patrick Beverley and Kobe White, they're going to come down and set a double pin down screen for Vuce to come on up for at the top of the key. What this does is that this takes Joel Embiid with him, right? So Vuce is going to come up here, Joel Embiid has to go with him, right? What this then does, okay, as this is happening, right? Look at Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid is occupied by Nikola Vucevic right now. So Zach's is about to make his move past Daniel House. Embiid's not in position to help. He is so focused on making sure that he is sticking with Nikola Vucevic on this play. This is smart by Billy Donovan. And you see here, Zach's able to get a drive to the lane. Shot blocker's late because of this action here. Zach's able to get a look at the rim and finish strong with the layup. He got fouled in his possession as well. So this sort of stuff here I like, because you're getting the shot blocker out of the way. You're opening up the paint and allowing guys like DeRozan and Zach to just get right into the paint. Because we saw a very similar action by DeMar DeRozan in the previous game, right? It was the very similar play, and we saw DeRozan take it to the basket and lay it up and in. That's smart, right? That was against the Miami Heat, which they don't have as much size in the paint or shot blocking ability, so it's a little bit easier. But still, though, it's the actions, the idea, right? That was smart from what we saw from Billy Donovan for once, right? And I want to see the Bulls do this sort of play more, because anything to get the shot blocker out of the paint is just going to help this Bulls team. Because again, this Bulls team is 19th in the NBA in terms of points in the paint per game. That's how bad they have been in terms of paint points. They need to be better, and because you don't shoot the 3 ball, you got to score in the paint. So it is what it is right now. Yeah, the Bears. Yep. By the way, I do think the Bears are making a lot of good moves, so I'm very happy with what they've done in the offseason. I hope it all works out in the end. I know people are criticizing though, which I get it. All right, that's the last I want to talk about in terms of just overall gameplay. I know I do this every once in a while where I pull up the game and I pick points and I'm like, hey, this happened. Let's look at this. But I thought tonight was a good night because even though the Bulls won, there's some things that weren't going very well. And I think that I always want to end it like, okay, this is something that at least good we saw, and we saw that right here. I do have one more play in mind, and I don't know if exactly I can find it, but I'm gonna look for it here. Let's see. It's either this one right here. Actually, I think it's this one right here. Let's go to 5:34 in that third quarter, and then I'll officially end this. And this is talking about the defense, which is another positive for this Bulls team. Okay. I thought the Bulls' rotations tonight were on point. Straight up. I thought the Bulls, just in terms of everything defensively, were just doing fantastic. And I seriously applaud this Bulls defense for doing such a great job tonight. And really holding the 76ers to a very, very low shooting percentage. Okay. So, we want to talk about post-ups, right? Let's watch this. Okay, so this is a post-up on Patrick Williams, which, by the way, I just think is not a smart decision. Zach LaVine's the weak side. He's guarding Daniel House. He comes on over to cover the weak side. That's good. This is good by Zach. Good start, okay? Everyone criticizes Zach for this, including me, but he did everything right here, okay? So, Tobias Harris has to then throw this ball out here to Daniel House. Now, my only criticism of this play is if Vooch is right here and Beverly's here, this is a steal. Because I've said this multiple times, if anyone's running baseline, okay, it is one of the hardest things to pass the ball back out to the top of the key. It's one of the hardest passes to do in basketball. So, if Vooch is here, right, to cover up the corner, which is typically the release valve in the when a guy runs baseline, this is a steal. But it's not. It's okay. Vooch is able to then rotate off Embiid, right? And so if Vooch was on Embiid, he runs on over. Patrick Beverly was on Tyrese Maxey, right? He runs over to Embiid, right? And then we see here Kobe White takes Tyrese Maxey, and he was on DeAnthony Melton. Okay, that's how rotation is supposed to work. Here's Patrick Williams after you run Daniel House off the three-point line. Patrick Williams meets him. Okay, Bulls scramble. Here's a rotation. Now, ball is being thrown across court to DeAnthony Melton in the corner. LaVine is the closest guy right here. It's Kobe White is supposed to be the initial rotation. He went too far up though. So Kobe has to run on over here, and Zach needs to come up and take Tyrese Maxey, which I believe is what happens here, if I'm not mistaken. Oh no, never mind. Zach actually runs over. So ideally, I'm gonna run this back. Ideally, that we don't see this sort of thing by Zach here, because at least Tobias Harris pretty wide open, right? And we see guys are trying to recover here. But in the ideal situation, if I can run this back, let's watch this again. We don't see Kobe White go that far out because he's a rotator on this one. Okay, so let's watch this one more time. Run off the three-point line. Okay, Kobe is too far away here, right? He just needs to kind of just stay here, and then if the ball gets thrown to Tyrese Maxey, you can pick him up, right? He doesn't need to be this close to Tyrese Maxey. He just has to be like in this position just in case the ball gets thrown to him. Because Tyrese Maxey's all the way out here, right? Because then what would happen is if the ball is then thrown cross court, Kobe is then the closest man to DeAnthony Melton, and then Zach's able to then run out to Tyrese Maxey. But this is what happens in this scenario. We see that Zach picks him up. You see Kobe was about to run towards him. DeAnthony Melton ends up shooting this. It's not that great of a decision. I appreciate that DeAnthony Melton decided to shoot that ball because Tobias Harris was pretty wide open down low. It's because of what Zach left him when he probably shouldn't have. So overall, though, it's good rotations by the Bulls. I think that the rotations from this Bulls team has just been really solid for a long time now. Okay, like again, this Bulls defense is ranked 5th. Everyone keeps saying the defense's issue is the reason why they're losing. It's not. The rotations have been there. And it's from everybody, right? It's not just from Alex Caruso and Patrick Williams. It's from everybody. They're doing everything right in terms of rotating. So, yeah. I just hope that this continues. Because if this can continue, then we're going to be able to force teams into some tougher moments. And I would like to see that. Because then this Bulls team can finally get back to running in transition, which they desperately need to do. All right. Let's see here. Can somebody... David, are you here? I want to see if you're here. Looks like David is not here, I don't think. Can someone type in chat right now? Can someone type like a thumbs up emoji or just say hey or something? I want to make sure that I do this right. All right, if anybody is typing right now, I cannot see the chat. So give me 1 second. I'm gonna refresh everything. I think the stream should continue moving on. Hold on. I wanna try one thing here. Because for some reason I can't see anything. If you guys are actually typing in chat right now, which I'm not exactly sure if you are. So just give me 1 second here. I want to refresh the stream. If the stream ends, I apologize, but it shouldn't. Yeah, we're still live here. Okay, we're still live. All right, maybe no one's typing then. All right, whatever. It's all good. I thought someone would be typing right now. I just want to make sure that the stream is healthy and working. Okay, we're all good though. All right. Last thing about this game, and then I'm willing to kind of talk about whatever you guys want to talk about in the NBA and whatever. I don't know what it is, but James Harden, for some reason, against this Bulls team, cannot figure it out. I would hope this continues because it's always nice when James Harden cannot score the ball. And I think that James Harden having these rough moments, but the biggest thing is like he's not getting to the free throw line is huge. If this Bulls team is gonna have any sort of shot at beating Philly on Wednesday, they're gonna have to repeat this sort of performance with James Harden. Now, I don't think James Harden's gonna go 2 for 14 again, but the biggest thing is that you did not foul James Harden. The one free throw that he got was off of a technical foul, or sorry, it was a silent out of bounds play. So 76ers got a technical foul, or they get to shoot a free throw. So I would just hope that moving forward, if this continues, like if James Harden is going to continue to struggle from the field, then the Bulls have to make sure they don't foul. Because we already know that Joel Embiid is just going to continue to go to the free throw line. He had 17 free throws tonight. But if you're able to take out James Harden's free throws, then this is going to be a very solid game defensively for this Bulls team. So they did it tonight. They got to go do it on Wednesday at the United Center, and hopefully more calls go our way at the United Center. And James Harden continues to struggle. So I don't know what it is with James Harden and the Bulls, but for some reason he has trouble against this Bulls team. And it's also just been like throughout his years, like in his career, like it doesn't matter what James Harden we've kind of faced, it just kind of seems to struggle against the Bulls. So I personally like this. I would like for this to continue, but I truly hope that this does continue, and we're gonna not foul James Harden, because we know that James Harden can get to the free throw line pretty much at will, and it's not fun to watch a free throw game, which the 76ers love to do, but it is a very effective sort of strategy to work with, because it is very, very, very efficient basketball. Sorry, I'm getting a text message. Respond. One second, y'all. And then I want to talk about the rest of the NBA. All right, here's what we're gonna talk about now. I want to talk about what's going on in the rest of the NBA. I also want to talk about Tyus Jones, because I know we brought up Tyus Jones. All right, thank you, David. Sorry, For some reason, I haven't seen a. I guess no one's just chatting, and it's kind of odd because I do see like, I think I see 19 viewers, so I don't know. Usually Box is here. He's the other mod. Also, by the way, you're a mod now, David. But I just didn't see a chat message for a good 10 minutes, so I thought he glitched out. But I appreciate that. Thank you. All right, I want to talk about Tyus Jones because I think Bulls fans, like, if we're going to be talking about realistic point guard options here, we need to talk about Tyus Jones because, as we now know, I do think that Lonzo Ball's career is in jeopardy. If you're not aware, Lonzo Ball did undergo surgery today, and I'm hoping nothing but the best from here on out. Mostly just in terms of quality of life because he needs to get back in just regular shape, right? Because right now he is having some severe issues. And he's having issues just in general with just in life. But as you can see here, according to a lot of people, any player that has had a cartilage transplant, they have never played ever again. So all I'm just gonna say is this: Lonzo Ball's percentage of coming back ever is very, very small. Okay, we already know with Lonzo that he takes a long time to recover in general. He's already had major knee issues. He just had a cartilage transplant, and right now we're heading towards that. The Bulls are gonna have to file for that end of career exemption with Lonzo, and then get his money taken off the books. But as of right now, that's not what they're gonna do. They're gonna see how Lonzo's gonna respond to the surgery, which is gonna be about a 16-month recovery. And I already know that it's just not gonna go well, probably. So, I'm very concerned about Lonzo. So this is the reason why I've been saying to a lot of Bulls fans that we need to move on. In your heads right now, Lonzo Ball is out for the rest of he's out for the rest of his career, right? He will never ever play again for the rest of his career. So because of that, the Bulls front office they need to work on a point guard replacement. And Patrick Beverley should be re-signed, and he's done a phenomenal job since he's gotten here. But I personally do not want Patrick Beverley as our starting point guard moving forward. I think he could be a very valuable piece off the bench, but that's honestly where I think he should be, because he does pick up a lot of fouls in a few minutes. So that's kind of where I'm at right now, and this Bulls team needs a point guard, and the front office can't act and would just wait like, oh, we're just gonna wait for Lonzo to get back. No, you can't do that. You have to right now go out and get a point guard. And you know, I like Io, but he has had some struggles this season. Carly Jones, by the way, I think is a guy that we need to kind of watch out for because he's had a very, very solid time in the G League. Bulls officially have signed him for a 3-year contract that is not guaranteed, so you know he still has to fight for a roster spot. But if he makes the team, I think he's going to have a very good contribution at point guard. I always thought Patrick Beverley was more of a 2 anyway, but Patrick Beverley has shown a lot to me at the point guard position. But I still think that we need to go out for a point guard. So if you look at the overall point guard market for the 2023 free agency for the NBA, it's not exactly amazing to look at. We can you know go over people all the time, but Russell Westbrook, no. Kyrie Irving, not happening, right? If you're not aware, the Bulls do not have cap space. Okay, I know it says that they're gonna have they could have $11 million, but that's if they don't re-sign Vucevic. That's if they don't re-sign Kobe White, they don't re-sign Adesumu. They just get rid of all these cap holds for this team. Okay, so basically the Bulls are gonna be operating over the cap. All right, so the point guard options are slim. I know that MC Season, who's been in this chat, wants Fred VanVleet. I also would love Fred VanVleet, but I think he wants $30 million, and the Bulls don't have that money unless it's a sign-and trade. Derrick Rose is here. It's a club option. We'll see what the Knicks do, but you know I don't really see that as really an option either. So honestly, the best way if through free agency is either a sign-and trade for the Bulls, or they use an entire mid-level exception to go out and get a point guard, which is only about $11 million, which is not a lot. Unfortunately. So if we're going to be spending $11 million, then I would like a guy like Javon Carter. Sorry, that went really big on accident. I did not want to do that. Javon Carter has been pretty solid for the Milwaukee Bucks. He is, you know, more so a bench player right now. But in terms of just being overall pretty solid, and he's worked on a lot of things. He is 6'1", so he's on the shorter side of things, but he's going to come off the bench. He started a lot of games this season, but the biggest thing for me is that he's shooting 42% from three-point range. And we know Javon Carter, he is from Chicago area. He also is a pretty good defender, about a steal per game in 22 minutes, averaging a career high in points per game. So this is a guy that I think that if the Milwaukee Bucks don't re-sign him, which they have his bird right, so they could easily re-sign him, I like to see the Bulls try and go out and get him with that $11 million, because I think he might accept that. But other than that, I don't really see anybody out here that's going to be in the $11 million range to be the starting point guard of this Bulls team moving forward. Kobe is here, and I do think that maybe the Bulls do look at Kobe White as the point guard replacement, maybe. But that's not something that I personally would like to do. So, if you're wondering about Tyus Jones, who I brought up on the stream, what's going on, Funk Logic? Yeah, the Bulls actually did beat the 76ers, and I don't know how they did it. I guess I do know, but I don't know. It's a little bit shocking. I'll say that. Tyus Jones is making $14 million next season for the Memphis Grizzlies. As I said, since Ja Morant has been out, Tyus Jones has looked phenomenal. And he's overall just being solid all season. He's averaging 10 points per game now. Started 17 games. He's shooting 37% from three. He is also a pretty decent defender, even though that he is small. Again, he is 6 foot, but he's known as like the best defender in college basketball when he was at Duke. And I think his defense is still pretty solid. The problem is just that he's small. But biggest thing for him is the assist to turnover ratio. It's 5 assists to basically 1 turnover right now in terms of his actual stats. But then you kind of look at the per 36, it's even better. We're looking at per 36 minutes, it's 7.5 turnovers. 7.5 assists to 1.4 turnovers. Like it's very, very solid from Tyus Jones. So I think I can pull up here. Sorry, I want to try to get to Memphis here. Sorry, hold on. Ooh. Memphis. This is different. Let's look at player stats here. And okay, never mind. We're going back to NBA.com. Sorry. I don't know why. I thought that I could find Tyus Jones' start when he starts sort of stats, but I guess I can't do that for some reason. So we're going to go this way. Here it is, Memphis. And we're going to go to roster. We're going to go to... I hate how long this takes. Tyus Jones. And then we're going to go to splits. Starter. So, in the games that Tyus Jones has started, he is averaging 17.6 points per game. He's averaging 7.9 assists on 1.6 turnovers, 2 steals. Okay, so this is when he's starting. All right, he's had 8 double-doubles in 18 games. All right, he also had a triple-double recently, which was awesome to see. It was like a 20, 10, and 10 game. He's taking about 5 threes per game, hitting on 43% of them. Like, if you're talking about a guy that is on the bench that the Bulls could potentially go and snag and just have him be that starting point guard, I think it's Tyus Jones, honestly. I'm all in on this, at least for like next season. If we then, need to move on, it does kind of suck to like give up something and then move on from Tyus Jones. But if the Bulls really do want a point guard fill-in, I think Tyus Jones is available. And the reason why I say him is because Memphis has a big dilemma that they have to come through with. Is they're already paying Tyus Jones $15 million and $14 next season to come off the bench, right? Tyus Jones cannot be given a contract extension by them. And what I mean by that is that they cannot prevent Tyus Jones from going into free agency in 2024. And Memphis is going to have to pay Dillon Brooks this offseason and then pay Desmond Bane the next offseason. And those guys are looking for bigger contracts, right? And Ja Morant's, max deal is about to kick in. So I think that with Tyus Jones, they might have to make a sacrifice if they're going to be paying all their core guys, right? And Tyus Jones might have to be a sacrifice because not only do I think that Tyus Jones is going to want more money, I think Memphis does not want to lose him in free agency. So if that's the case, I would be like, if I'm the Bulls, I'd be like, hey, let's try to work out a deal. And I don't know exactly what it would take. I would be willing to trade that Portland pick for Tyus Jones, especially if we're going to keep him after the season, which I wouldn't be or after next season, which I think would be a smart decision anyway. But yeah, it's something just to kind of consider because, again, Lonzo Ball is not going to be coming back anytime soon. So get ready for a new point guard. I did say I do think that this Bulls team next season, there is going to be a change to the starting lineup. So I don't exactly know where that is. I know Vooch is a free agent, so maybe a new center. I also know that, with the point guard position, it's been kind of like a revolving door. I do think that if anything, we're probably going to see a new starting point guard next season that is not on the roster, I'll say. But it also could be DeMar DeRozan, because the Bulls could trade DeMar DeRozan here and open up some cap space to kind of make some moves. So something to keep in mind, because, again, the Bulls need a point guard. And I desperately want a point guard on this roster. I think it maximizes Levine. I think it maximizes Patrick Williams. And it's just going to help this team be better than 24th offensively, or 23rd now offensively. So Tyus Jones would be my number one pick. I said Javon Carter if he's available. I would also like him. Again, though, there's other options. I said Terry Rozier last stream, but that has to require a pretty massive trade for it to work out. There are some other guys around, and each stream I'm going to kind of bring up another dude. So in this stream I brought up Javon Carter, but there are other guys out there that I think the Bulls could go out and potentially get, and I think it's worth it. So figure it out, AK. You gotta convert on something here. You can't wait around for Lonzo Ball to get ready, unfortunately. So you're gonna resign Kobe, fine. I think Dale and Terry also might get a look at point guard. I know Unstoppable. Who's been in the chat before. I'm talking about username in this chat. He likes Dalen Terry at point guard. He thinks that Dalen Terry should be tried out at point guard. I personally look at Dalen Terry more as a wing, because I think that he could be the best defender there. But maybe Dalen Terry can line that point guard position. Who knows? But either way, there has to be a better short-term and long-term solution at point guard. It can't just be wait for Lonzo Ball to get healthy. Okay, either way, I've always said Lonzo's not really a point guard. I've always said he's more of a 2, a 3-and-D wing, perhaps, which I know a lot of people hate that from me, but I think that's just the case. So, it is what it is right now. So I just think that Tyus Jones is a guy that could be available, that it won't cost too much, and is affordable, and is going to give you good production. He is 26 years old right now. He'll be 27 next season. I think he has good years left. Good option, but it looks like we'll need Biggs overhaul. I agree with that too. I don't know what's gonna happen with Vooch. It looks like the Bulls are gonna try to re-sign him. I hope they don't give him a massive deal. I think that if the Bulls give Vooch a massive deal for whatever reason, it's a big mistake. I'm willing to bring back Vucevic for like a 1-year +1, so that maybe we could trade him later. Just so that we know that we don't lose him for nothing. If Vooch is gonna go to another team, I would hope it's sign and trade, but we can't control that. So if Vooch leaves, yeah, a massive overhaul in the big department, because I don't think Andre Drummond's going to pick up his player option either. So Bulls are going to need bigs, but as I've said, the Bulls don't have cap space, right? Even if Vucevic is not re-signed, we can maybe get 10 million. And reminder, when I look at this, this is knowing that Javonte Green is not coming back, knowing that Patrick Beverley is also not going to sign immediately with us, right? So we can wait on re-signing Kobe White and Ayo Dosunmu. But either way, though, with Kobe's cap hold and in play, if we're going to make him restricted free agent, we don't have cap space, right? And then if we actually let Kobe White go, then this number up here is still going to be a little bit lower, because the cap hold for Ayo is this much, right? So this number is still just going to be a little bit lower. But either way, if we're going to try to bring back Kobe and make him restricted free agent, the Bulls have no cap space. So this is the reason why I'm look, if let's say Vucevic leaves, and Andre Drummond decides to not pick up his player option, Bulls have a lot of things to work on, right? They have to get creative in a way to get a starting caliber big on this roster with no cap space whatsoever to do such a thing. We have the mid-level exception, so there is a possibility there to go get a starting, big, I guess. But we also need a point guard, right? And we also have the biannual exception, which is about 5 million ish, right? Maybe it's 4 million. I have to double check that. I think it's 5. So there's just not a lot of options here for this Bulls team to go out and have money to spend on players to fill in these holes, right? So this is the reason why, like, I've been saying all season that I think DeRozan should get traded, and it's for multiple reasons and not just cap space. Like, I think that right now, because DeMar DeRozan's on a 1-year deal, you need to trade him now if you're gonna get any value in return for him. And I think that the Bulls need cap space this offseason. So if you get rid of DeRozan's basically $30 million, the Bulls will have some cap space to work with. But then also this. The 2024 offseason is when I've been saying the Bulls need to strike gold. Okay, I've been saying this pretty consistently, but 2024 offseason is always, it's so interesting to look at because I think things are just kind of changing every day. But Pascal Siakam, we have Jaylen Brown, who just recently said some bad things about Boston, about his fans there, and also maybe Jaylen Brown wants to be the number one option somewhere, which I don't know exactly how that will work out, but I'm willing to try. So Jaylen Brown, Pascal Siakam, with DeJounte Murray, Domantas Sabonis. There are guys here that have to go through free agency to get their max contract. And let's say we don't get Tyus Jones, then I would want DeJounte Murray badly and pay him that max contract. In the Bulls right now, they're projected at $75 million of cap space. I would just like DeMar DeRozan off just to get assets to then have for this offseason. So then we can also not only, sign a max player or maybe two, but then also have assets to potentially make some trades, right, to kind of fill in the gaps. So I just think that this is something to look at. If Lonzo's money comes off the books, that'd be even better, because then the Bulls have $90+ million in cap space. And then you can 100% sign to max free agents, which, by the way, Zach LaVine's max contract's still on the roster. So don't have to worry about him whatsoever. So I look at this, and if you're wondering about Patrick Williams, don't worry about him, because the Bulls can re-sign him after they sign everybody else. His cap hold, unfortunately, is annoying, but this is the reason why I keep saying, like, okay, we can still go out and sign a dude, right, to a max contract. Then, we can re-sign Patrick Williams with bird rights, so we don't have to worry about him, and then, get that cap space and then move forward with it. So that's just, it's in my head right now. Like, this is how this would all work out. Because, man, if this is $75 million now, I'm going to say that, let's just say this is closer to like $65 million. Take away Patrick Williams, like $30 million, that's still $35 million contract, and then that's without making other moves, right? There are other moves that you can go ahead and make to kind of clear some cap here. So I would just like Lonzo's money off the books. That make things a lot easier. But either way, even with Patrick Williams' big cap hold, we can still have a massive amount of cap space this offseason. So I just think, I look at this and I'm like, hey, this is how it's going to have to work out for this Bulls team, but I don't know. It's not a guarantee. I saw someone, I don't know who it was, on Twitter say that maybe the Bulls should go after Kyle Lowry, or made a poll that said should the Bulls go after Kyle Lowry if the Heat don't retain him. And I'm just like, no. No thanks. No thanks. No thanks. I do not want Kyle Lowry. I remember when Heat fans were clowning the Bulls for about Lonzo Ball, and I'm like, you just got Kyle Lowry, a 35-year-old. So I don't know about that. I guess he was 36. Anyway, it doesn't look good for either team right now, because Kyle Lowry has sucked and Lonzo Ball is not healthy. So I don't know which one's worse, honestly. But I'm going to say that the Bulls probably a bit worse off, because we're locked in on a 4-year deal. But both teams did not really do well with the point guard that they got in the offseason. And both teams were docked a second-round pick due to tampering for the point guard that they got in the offseason. And you want to talk about a massive L, like, if Lonzo truly cannot ever play again, like, it's one of the craziest things to kind of, it's so bad. Like, it is so awful. So in terms of overall value, it is one of the worst things in the world. So I don't know. Kyle Lowry, I think you have to trade for, by the way. So yeah, double checking that. Because he's traded in 2024, which, again, I'm not going after Kyle Lowry. Oh, no shot. Yeah, that's just not what we're looking at right now in terms of the point guard spot for the Bulls. It sucks, but hey, here we are. And I hope that things get kind of figured out soon. All right, give me one sec, and I'm gonna put on some music. And then if the chat wants to talk about some things with me, then we can go ahead and do that. If not, then I'm gonna go ahead and end stream. So Go ahead and type in the chat any topics you want to talk about. Embiid, potentially with the MVP and stuff. Teams that around the league right now. We know the Western Conference is very, very, very tight right now. So we can talk about all sorts of things. But we can do that. If not, then I'm going to go ahead and call it a night. But give me 1 second as I don't blow my nose. All right. Johnny John, I can't believe how bad Bulls are struggling. In terms of what, Johnny John? I mean, obviously the season has sucked, but anything specific you want to talk about with them? I think the Bulls should miss the playoffs and play in so that Washington gets another shot at championship. You want the Bulls to miss the playoffs so you get a better pick for your Magic, David. I'm sorry. I can't accept that, David. Like, you actually do not want Washington to get a shot at a championship. I'm trying to. All right. Just... Oh, I can't believe you said something like that to me, David. You said this all season. David's a Magic fan, by the way. So obviously the Bulls traded that pick to Orlando, and I'm regretting it to this day. And I know David wants a pretty good pick from the Bulls pick this season. So David wants the Bulls to get a top 5 pick somehow, or lose out and get like 5th overall. But then, of course, we don't get the pick, and the Magic get the 5th overall pick and their own pick this season, which I don't even know where that's going to land right now, because the Magic are 29 and 43. So that would put them 5th, I think. Yeah, I don't know. David wants that though. I'm the biggest Porzingis fan on earth. Yes, you are actually, but You want Washington in the playoffs for other reasons. Which, by the way, I'll say this: I know David and I had this conversation before. I'm gonna apologize to Porzingis. Like, I guess I've always, my biggest thing with Porzingis is like, I wanted him to have a post-up game. I always thought with Porzingis that he could just be like the dominant, like bring the post back into the game, but like. It showed me that in recent, or at least what it showed me in the recent NBA is that a guy like Porzingis who kind of struggles in the post, like posting him is just not worth it. Like I thought with Vucevic we were actually getting like a post up, superstar, or at least a post up option that is like one of the best in the league, right? Not a superstar in Vuce, but just like a really good post up option, and he just hasn't been that. He has not been consistent enough in the post. And if you're not aware, the Bulls post up Vucevic more than the 76ers post up Embiid. So if you're questioning how much the Bulls actually post up Vuce, just know that Joel Embiid posts up less than him and is a better and more efficient player in the post than Vuce. So just to show you that the post up is dying, right? If you're gonna tell me about Jokic, well, Jokic is a legit, just a one of a kind player, and is an anomaly. Like, he doesn't count. Okay, Jokic is Jokic, and that is it. So let's not even discuss that. Vucevic is not Jokic. With Porzingis, I've said that I thought that he could have a post-up game and just be like an absolute dominant player. And like I thought Porzingis, after his rookie year emergence where people are kind of writing him off. I'm like, oh my god, like, he could be a superstar in this league. And then it very quickly dawned on me. I'm like, okay, he can't, because he needs help, right? It's hard for him to kind of create off the dribble. He's a guy that relies a lot on his teammates to set him up, which is fine. He just has to, hit at a very high rate, which he's had a very, very solid season. Obviously, injuries have also played a big factor with his issues. He's played 60 games already with about 10 to go-ish, 10-ish to go, right? But he's had a very, very solid season, and I'm happy for him. Him and Luka somehow did not work out. It's kind of odd that him and Luka didn't work out. I feel like that should have worked out, but it just didn't. But it's good to see that he's performing well. The issue is that Washington sucks. Bradley Beal sucks right now, which I guess I really shouldn't say that, but Bradley Beal has just, like, I feel like every single year I think like Bradley Beal is supposed to get better, and for some reason it just gets worse. Like 23 points per game is not ideal. He's averaging more assists, but he can't stay healthy, and it just seems like his scoring takes a dip. Like, we saw like 31 points per game, 30 points per game, and then it just has dipped. Injuries have played a part. So I don't know. I used to love watching Beal. I don't anymore. Washington just continues to have issues, and Beal is getting paid a ton of money. So yeah, I don't know. David, I don't know about your chances of the Wizards making the playoffs. Just so that the Bulls don't make the playoffs. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. He has been paid so much, he doesn't care. I mean, I think that could be that. I don't really ever think that NBA players like straight up don't care. Okay, I just think that with Beal, like, his priority is obviously money first. I don't think winning is like at the bottom of his list. I just think that winning is just behind money. And like, I give him credit for what him and John Wall did with the Wizards. It's just, I just don't know where the Wizards are going right now. They're one of those teams that I'm like, hello, like, what are you? And also, for some reason, with all their draft picks, like, I feel like with all their draft picks, they always end up picking the wrong guy. And that's not, I'm not trying to knock him too hard, but like, I like Denny Avdija, but I thought he'd be more than what he is right now. He's a good defender, but yeah, I don't know about the Johnny Davis commercial, or sorry. See, that's the reason why. When I think of Johnny Davis, I think Taco Bell. David and I have talked about this. Johnny Davis is Taco Bell. That's his nickname. And I don't like that pick. Maybe he turns into something else. I don't know though. It just seems like they've just kind of missed a lot of things. So yeah, they're pretty much just kind of stuck. Corey Kispert has been all right though. All right, I have to talk about the Western Conference right now because there is some stuff that is brewing that I think is very interesting to look at. And unfortunately, this does pertain to the Bulls, but it's not going to help the Bulls right now, unfortunately. I don't know how this is really going to work with this Bulls team coming in the draft. If you're not aware, we own Portland's pick, but it's lottery protected. Portland is continuing to go down, right? Portland's just going to continue to go down and just go down, 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 down. We're at the point now with Portland that I don't think there's enough games for them to come back. I've always kind of said that if Portland just made the play-in tournament, I think they make the playoffs. Like, I don't care what seed they are, just because Damian Lillard is Damian Lillard. And because it's a single elimination, I think Damian Lillard in a single elimination game is like one of the best players to have. I think Portland would make the playoffs. Well, right now Portland's down here. There's 4 games out of 10th. It's not looking good for them. So right now, I think with Portland, they're not making the playoffs. Damian Lillard's probably going to sit out for the rest of the season, and the Bulls are not going to get their pick. Now, I'm aware that Bulls fans are pissed about this, but here's what I always keep saying to Bulls fans about the Portland pick. Okay, like, everyone's always pissed about it for some reason, and I just don't get it really, but. So if you're wondering, like, you see here Portland 15 through 30, so that's basically if Portland makes the playoffs, we get the pick. right now with Portland, okay, Portland is stuck. Okay, so if they're actually trying to maximize Damian Lillard's time there, like, Portland cannot trade any of their picks right now because it is protected from now through 2028. Okay, because of that protection that is on the pick that was sent to the Bulls, Portland is not allowed to trade any of their picks right now because the Stepien rule, obviously, but also you can't trade picks that are part of a protection process. So this is what's happening right now for Portland, which I think it was a major mistake. So right now, I think the Bulls, like people are going to complain about like the Bulls not getting this pick. I just think that Portland's going to come to them at some point soon. I don't know when. Maybe this is offseason, and be like, "Hey, we need our picks. We're going to take the protection off the pick that we sent you." So I don't know what exactly that process is. Obviously, AK has to agree to it, which he kind of has an incentive not to agree to. Or, like, he doesn't have to agree to it, honestly, because it screws over Portland like for eternity. But the Bulls also need the pick, right? So I don't know exactly what's going to happen here, but I do expect that at some point that Portland's going to take the protections off of this pick that is sent to Chicago, so that they can start trading some of their own picks because they have all their picks, right? So it's not a terrible situation for the Bulls to be in. If anything, it's a good situation because we kind of own Portland's draft for the next, however many years. Obviously, if Portland doesn't make the playoffs, Portland has their pick. But if they don't make the playoffs, if Portland doesn't make the playoffs, Portland has their pick. If Portland does make the playoffs, though, we get a draft pick. So I don't know exactly how AK and Portland is gonna approach this, but it's gonna be very interesting to look at. Again, though, I think at some point we get the pick, either it conveys or Portland's gonna take the protections off because they need those picks to kind of move some pieces around. Because as you can see, a ton of stuff's been happening in their second round picks because they can trade those. But as of right now, it does not look like the Bulls are gonna have a pick for this upcoming draft. And this is just me. Even let's say the Bulls, let's say they make the play-in tournament but then lose. If that's the case, I just don't think the Bulls are going to jump into the top 4. I don't think that's going to happen. Even though that we are a big market and we've seen some weird things in the lottery since, and the lottery is different now. So I just don't expect us to jump into the top 4. It could happen, but I just don't expect it. So even if we don't make the playoffs, I'm just expecting that pick to go to Orlando, and that's fine. So the Bulls are not going to have a pick going into the draft. Now, this is the reason why I'm kind of saying that I think if you trade DeMar DeRozan in the offseason, maybe you could get a pick or something to use in this draft. I would like to have a pick this upcoming draft because I think there are some solid players in the mid to late first round. So I would like for that, but I don't know. I truly don't know if that's gonna happen. I don't know about the Bulls' second round pick right now. I don't think we. So we have a. So if we get a second round pick, it's forfeited. So we're not gonna have a second round. So don't even worry about it. But we would get this pick if Denver via Cleveland, it's a trade, is 46 through 60 in the second round. So right now it just looks like the Bulls are not gonna just not gonna have a pick, which overall does suck. But it should prioritize what's going to happen in this offseason, right? The offseason needs to be where this Bulls team starts to make some changes, right? Hence, trade DeMar, figure out what to do with Vooch and other people, because this Bulls team, needs an overhaul, right? And I know we're winning now. Moving forward, we need to see some better things to kind of clear up some cap, make some better moves, clear up some opportunities for some of the younger guys like Patrick Williams. Bring back Patrick Beverly, obviously. But yeah, we gotta figure out a lot of things. So I'm interested in what this Bulls team's gonna do. Just saying, I don't think the Bulls are gonna trade DeMar. That's just personally what I would do, is I would trade DeMar. But if they don't trade DeMar, then new center, new point guard. Like either way, there has to be changes, right? So even if DeMar DeRozan isn't traded, there is a lot of changes that have to be made. So I'm looking at this and I'm like, hey, this needs to get fixed. So I don't know exactly how you're gonna do it, but figure it out. This is what you're paid to do, and be aggressive, which is what they've said that they're always gonna do, and they haven't been aggressive in the past 2 trade deadlines. So I don't know what exactly they're looking at, but they need to do something because, again, we don't have a pick. We do have our 2024 pick. So I'm happy with having that 2024 pick, but yeah, 2023 is. I don't think a pick's coming. Imagine if we had Dame. Oh man, if we had Dame, this offense would not be stuck in 23rd. I think if we had Dame, this team would look so much better. I'm aware that Damian Lillard is also not that great of a defender. I do think that he gets criticized defensively for a little too harshly for whatever reason. But if we had Dame, like, we're looking at this Bulls offense being a dynamic offense because he shoots 10 threes per game, which is what we should be doing, right? Or at least what Zach should be doing. And he would just be changing this Bulls offense to the modern day game. And with the way that this Bulls team is run defensively, like, it would be perfect. But I'm not saying we'd win anything. I'm just saying that this Bulls team at least would be a good team in making one of the higher seeds in the playoffs every single season. I did not think that Damian Lillard was going to come out and have this crazy season. I'm concerned about his health moving forward because he has missed a lot of time. He's also a smaller guard, but he just came out and arguably just had his best season of his career. So, you know, I have willing to bet on it, but I don't think he's leaving Portland. That's the thing. And I don't think Portland wants to trade him, obviously. So they're going to try to do whatever it takes to keep Dame around and build around him. I just think they're running out of time. So I would like to see Damian Lillard in a Chicago Bulls uniform. Don't know how he gets here, but it'd be great. Loyalty to the death of him? Maybe. I just think that what people like, loyalty is so interesting in my opinion, because I don't know if you guys understand what the definition of loyalty actually means, right? If you actually look at the definition of loyalty, right? Let's just look this up, okay? The definition of loyalty is very interesting, okay? Which, you know, I hate this. Well, quality being loyal. Okay. Let's just definition of loyal. Okay. Giving or showing firm or constant support or allegiance to a person or institution. Okay. And this is what I think it really means, though, is like faithful to a person whom allegiance or affection is due. That's in terms of a person. But let's just talk about in terms of a company, right? Or a business. Okay. The definition of being loyal means you are willing to sacrifice something, or something is like something like bad or something like not ideal you're allowed to take, right, without expecting anything in return. Okay, so for example, a definition of a loyal employee would be to come in and pretty much work overtime but really not get paid overtime, right? That is the definition of a loyal person, or a loyal person to a business. Okay, Damian Lillard, in all seriousness, like, we're gonna use the term loyal here, but like, it is a business and he's getting paid a ton of money. Like, if he went anywhere else, the money is not as high. Okay, sure, he might win a championship, but the money just isn't as high, right? So him staying there, like, I always kind of say, like, it's not actually being loyal. It's just that he has a benefit. He has a benefit there that he really couldn't get anywhere else. Now, obviously, he could go somewhere else and get paid a ton of money. It just wouldn't be as much as he's getting paid now, and also then win, right? But I think for him, it's like, what are we really coming down to? Like, do I really want to, like, because there's other things that come involved here. It's not just about winning. It's his family, you know, it's being familiar with what you already know, right? I think that that's kind of where it's like, he is, in the end, choosing to roll with this benefit that he's getting, over potentially winning, right? Now, what you could argue, though, is this: couldn't you argue that, you know, definition of loyal or loyalty, right, to a business is like, Damian Lillard is actually doing this right now because he could go somewhere else and potentially win a championship, right? And if he's never going to win something here, then he's being loyal. My only thing is that, like, if he's the fact that when he stays in Portland and he's staying in Portland, he does get something, right? He does get something in return, which is a bigger contract. And also, let's also be real. If he gets traded anywhere else, there's no guarantee that he wins a championship, right? So in my opinion, like, it's not necessarily that he's being loyal. It's more so that there's a bigger benefit for him there in staying in Portland. And it's a guaranteed benefit rather than if he actually goes somewhere else, right? And even let's just say he gets traded and gets to stay in his contract. Not guaranteed he wins the championship, right? It could honestly be worse for him. So I don't exactly know how the Trailblazers are going to look at it, and I don't know how you guys look at it, but like I don't know if I don't typically say like, you know, loyalty in the NBA, because I always know with Kevin Durant, for example, right? It's like he should have been loyal to OKC. I just think that's more of like, it's just a business decision. It's how businesses roll, right? I don't like, if you return to OKC, I don't think that's him being loyal. I think that's just a business decision. He went to the Warriors. I just think that's a business decision. It's just kind of how it is. So, yeah, I will say with Lillard, we typically don't see stars or even any player stay on one team. The fact that how much he's given to Portland is a lot, and I think that he's done a phenomenal job of, you know, of really kind of helping that franchise kind of restart. I know LaMarcus Aldridge was there as well, and he was a big part. But Portland, in my opinion, or Damian Lillard, in my opinion, is just always Portland. And I hope that he can find a way to get back to the Western Conference Finals, because let's not forget that he's been there, right? He's been to the Western Conference Finals before. The problem is that he went up against the Golden State Warriors, and this was without Kevin Durant, but he went up against the Golden State Warriors, and Kevin Durant was injured, but you still went up against Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and when those three have played all games in a series, they have not lost, right? So I just question, you know, what people have kind of said, like, was his time in Portland, you know, did Portland fail him, or like his time in Portland was just like overall it was pretty bad. He made it to the Western Conference Finals, which is really hard to do, right? There are a lot of guys will never make it that far, and Damian Lillard led them there. So I would love to see Lillard in a Bulls uniform, because I think that the Bulls could really go some places with him. But I'm also aware of how Portland's going to act, and then how Lillard's going to act on it. So it's sad to see that Portland hasn't been able to kind of figure it out and be consistently good with him. But I do hope that in the future maybe it does work out with him, because Lillard's game might honestly last longer than I think. Because if he just has his career best season now, then I could just be wrong about him, and, you know, potentially losing steam as he gets into his 30s. But one more thing I want to talk about is this, guys. The Pelicans right now. Do you remember when the New Orleans Pelicans were up here? Or like here? Or even like here, right? Do you remember that? Do y'all remember that? Because I remember that, right? It's so mind-boggling to see that the Pelicans right now have the same record as the Bulls, okay? It is absolutely mind-boggling. I understand Zion has not been healthy, okay? But let's just be real. This Pelican team last season did not have Zion all season, right? Or had Zion for very little time. I think he missed all last season, if I'm not mistaken. This team has had, you know, Brandon Ingram injured for a decent chunk of this season, okay? But as you can see, he's playing now, right? He's here. He's playing now, okay? And it, you know, it is what it is. But they're playing now, okay? He's playing now. CJ McCollum's here, okay? And I remember with this in the stream, and like with my community, it's like, oh my God, you know, Herbert Jones, Najee Marshall, like the Pelicans have all these guys that just look so young and talented, and it's like, oh my goodness, they have all the talent in the world. Well, it's not working out too well. I understand that Zion's not here, and when Zion was playing, this team looked great, and this was without Brandon Ingram playing, by the way. It just shows you how fragile franchises can be, right? This entire Pelicans franchise right now is on this man's shoulders, and this man can't stay healthy for the life of him, right? Maybe the Pelicans, without Zion, can be an 8th seed. Maybe, right? Maybe. But even so, they made it in the play-in tournament they made the playoffs because of the play-in tournament. They did not make it into the playoffs because of their record. They had a very overall bad record, and they made it into the play-in tournament. They made it to the playoffs with the play-in tournament. Okay, I do say that, like, yeah, they pushed the Suns to 6 games, but I think that may have been more of like a showing that the Suns aren't as good as we think, compared to that the Pelicans are actually better than we thought. It really sucks kind of seeing right now that this Pelicans team is this far down, and at this moment right now, I think this Pelicans team is not making the playoffs, because right now they're below the Lakers, and the Lakers are having their own issues, but LeBron, I think, is going to come back. I just don't know when. So we know Zion's not coming back. I mean, at least in my opinion, he's not coming back. LeBron, I know he's been kind of reevaluated, and we'll see if he does come back, but they have Anthony Davis at least there, and he's better than BI. Oklahoma City right now has jumped up to the 9th seed, okay? And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander looks phenomenal still, but OKC in general, just all their players that have been playing, they look good, right? They look good right now, and like, I'm looking at Jalen Williams and how good of a second half he's having. Like, it just, OKC right now, they have a good defense. They attack the paint. Like, they look really, really solid right now. And the funny thing is this, guys, I'm making a bold statement right now. Who has a brighter future? The Oklahoma City Thunder have a brighter future than New Orleans Pelicans. I'm saying it right now. And the whole reason is because Zion can't stay healthy. That's the whole reason. I remember coming into the season, like, when Pelicans were up here, and this entire chat was like, oh my god, the Pelicans, they have all this and that. I wish we had Zion. Like, yeah, I also wish we had Zion. Like, I'm aware of his talent. But right now, with how things are going, I'm betting OKC to be better, to have a better future. The Pelicans don't play defense. They don't have defenders. This Oklahoma City team plays defense. Everything relies on Zion for that Pelicans team. I think that a lot relies on SGA right now for the Oklahoma City Thunder. But they have Chet Holmgren coming, and they also have a boatload of picks, right? Remember with, the Pelicans was like, oh my god, they have all these picks that are coming in, etc., etc., etc. Oklahoma City has a ton of picks. A ton. Like, it's out of the world of how many picks that they have. They have first-round picks galore. Oklahoma City is a better future right now. I'm calling it. And, if this was November of 2022, I don't say this. But with how the season has gone, with how SGA has played, with how badly injured Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram have been all season, and how poor the defense has been for the Pelicans, and knowing that Oklahoma City Thunder have not even played their rookie that they drafted in their past draft, and Chet Holmgren, Oklahoma City is a better future. I don't know if the Lakers are going to make the playoffs. They have to get in via the play-in, obviously. Or honestly, they don't have to, but I don't think they're jumping to the 6th seed anytime soon. I know Golden State is kind of not playing well. I think they beat the Rockets. I would pray to God that they beat the Rockets on the road tonight. Okay, yeah, they did. So we'll see about that. But my point is also this, guys. Like, this Bulls team, like, I'm aware of 34 and 37. It sucks. This team should not be 34 and 37. Like, they should, at the very least, they should be closer to what the Miami Heat are, right? Bare minimum. Okay. And I'm aware that the East is not as good as the West. Like people always say, like, I think people came in saying that, oh, the Eastern Conference is going to dominate this season, and I told them, like, no, I think the West is more tough. And I'm aware that the Milwaukee Bucks have more wins than the Denver Nuggets, but I think this just shows you how close, how good the West is, because we have all these teams fighting right now in a very narrow margin, right? The Golden State Warriors, the reigning champions, are 37 and 36. This Pelicans team that we had so much praise for, they have the same record as the Bulls. Okay, Minnesota, like, there's teams, right? Dallas Mavericks, they have Luka and Kyrie, and I know Luka has not played recently, but Clippers are 38 and 34. Like, all I'm saying is that this Bulls team they're not as far away as you think from actually, like, being, like, a solid team, right? There's a reason why I'm not for this rebuild that everyone keeps calling for. We'll see if the Bulls actually do it. They might actually go for the rebuild here, but for me, I'm not for it. So I just wish that you know, maybe these numbers were flipped in the Bulls record, and maybe we wouldn't be talking about this. But yeah, it just kind of shows you. I'm not saying the Bulls are anywhere near a championship. They're not, but they're a little bit closer to being a better team than we think. I think it's time they use those picks to get superstars. I disagree. I think right now they can wait. They can draft someone else this upcoming offseason. Have Chet Holmgren and the rookie play together for a season, right? SGA leads the charge. I think SGA, by the way, is a superstar. After that, then they can go ahead and cash in on their picks. That's what I think is the best time. I think that right now, if you're OKC, the last thing you want to do is speed up the process. Because if you speed up the process and you bring a superstar now, and then Chet Holmgren cannot develop into the player that they think that he can develop into, that's an L. You messed up, right? You don't need to speed up this process. You just had a dude that many thought was going to be the number 1 overall pick for a long time, and then number 2, right? So I would not speed up the process if I was OKC. I would look to play another season, probably of not speed up the process. But once you know that Chet Holmgren's ready, and then SGA is going to be ready, and then whoever else they draft early on is also going to be ready, then you go ahead and cash in on those picks. But for now, I'm staying pat, because you might make the playoffs now, and you didn't even have Chet Holmgren this entire season. Like, imagine that. If the Thunder make the playoffs this season without Chet Holmgren, like, can you imagine what this team's going to be? It's possible. Like, I'm not saying it's guaranteed, but it's possible right now. So yeah, let's watch out for it. I think Chet is more powerful than a center, and if they get a solid center, I totally agree. I've always said that Chet Holmgren is probably going to be playing more the Giannis, position instead of the center position, right? I think we can all agree that Giannis can play center and can play it very effectively, but we see that Brook Lopez is there. So Chet Holmgren is going to play the Giannis type position, right? Where he's not going to be the center, and people always want to put him at center for some reason. No, he's going to play like Giannis. He's going to be at the Giannis position, which you're going to have a big man next to him for a good portion of the game, so he doesn't get beat up down low. I'm aware how skinny he is, but I don't think that should have any sort of impact on anything. People say, well, he can't guard Giannis. He can't guard this guy. Well, guess what? No one can guard Giannis. No one can guard Jokic. No one can guard Embiid. No one can guard Anthony Davis. I hate that argument. So Chet Holmgren is going to be like in the Giannis role for Oklahoma City. I think he also shoot the ball much better than Giannis, so that'll be very interesting to watch. But yeah, it just looks very solid for Oklahoma City moving forward, and I'm looking forward to it, honestly. All right. I appreciate you all hanging out with me tonight. I want to talk about a few things that I've been noticing around the league. And Bulls, luckily, they got a big win tonight, so they're now 34-37. We're now a half game behind Toronto, so the standings have updated, so that's good. We could, who knows, if Toronto loses their next game, we could take it over Toronto, and then Atlanta is right in our sights. So yeah, 8 seeds there. It's a possibility for us. Yeah, there's still a decent amount of time moving forward. Yeah, appreciate you guys hanging out with me tonight. If you have not already, hit that like button on the stream. It helps me out a ton. If you're new to this channel, hit that subscribe button. It also helps me out a ton if you want more Bulls content. And big win tonight. Just humongous win. I'll be streaming on Wednesday after the 76ers game. Hopefully it's another W against 76ers. And then the Bulls will be 2-12 against Joel Embiid lifetime in his career. All right. Appreciate you guys a lot. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.